Okay.
All right, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Train World. And tonight we have a very, very special edition. It's Amtrak Live, and we got the Amtrak merch that I just picked up from the Amtrak portal and web store, and we're excited because I don't think this has ever been done before. And Tony, you kind of pulled some strings and put some stuff together. And Matt Donnelly from Amtrak Trains is joining us tonight. And we're going to be talking about Amtrak, their 50th anniversary, as well as some of the model trains that have Amtrak paint schemes. And if you've been paying attention to the model train industry over the past couple of months, there are some special and awesome paint schemes out there that are very unique, interesting. We're going to cover it all. And let's go around the horn and kind of introduce ourselves. So I'm Ken Jr. from Train World. And thank you for everyone for joining us. We'll kick it over. Next to me, I have Larry Harrington from Bachman Trains.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
James Wright, JLWII 2000. How you doing, James?
Good. How are you, Ken?
All right. Thanks for joining us, James. Ryan Kunkel from Lionel. How you doing, Ryan?
Very good evening. Glad to be back.
All right. And we have, of course, Matt Donnelly, who will I'll reintroduce you at the end. But how you doing, Matt?
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
All right. Jordan from Rapido. They think he's the CEO. How you doing, Jordan?
Good, very good. Thanks for having me here today.
All right, thanks for joining us. Alex from Kato USA. How you doing, Alex?
Good, Ken. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
All right, and we have Stacy and Gail from LGB. How you doing?
Good, Ken. How are you?
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us. And no introduction needed, but Tony Cook from Model Railroad News. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing good. I've got my 50th shirt on. This is the one with all the, that's my best side, people tell me. All the logos on the back. And I can hang out a bit, but as I told you, I got a package today.
Cool.
So, you know, I've got train sets to play with later, so.
There you go.
My evening is busy with train stuff as always.
Thanks. Very cool. And we have Jim Wiggins from Athern. How you doing, Jim?
Hey, Ken. Pleasure to be here. This is a great time. It's a great time to be a model railroader, isn't it?
There you go. And you're a busy man, hopping from Train Tuesday onto a new show. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having us on, Ken.
And I will apologize about Eric. How you doing?
Hey, good.
All right. Thanks for joining us. And Eric from Micro Trains. and we just got to pop one guy in and out, but we'll manage. And thanks for joining us, Eric. And so we're gonna start. And Tony, I don't know if you want to start off beforehand before we kick it off to Matt, but I mean, this is going to be an awesome event. We're really excited for what Matt has to say. Matt's going to probably kick it off with just going over Amtrak in general, some paint schemes, the anniversary. And before we get into that, I see so many fans out there, so we really appreciate you joining. Definitely, it's a large turnout, so we appreciate it. We're going to actually do a raffle tonight, and for all the train fans out there. So put in the chat, I want to see, I love Amtrak, and then put in your zip code or state, and we'll raffle off this Lionel Amtrak boxcar. So put it in the chat, I love Amtrak, zip code and state, and we'll be raffling this off. We'll pick out a winner by tomorrow, and we'll try to get someone that nice train. So we appreciate that. And a lot of great comments, so really cool. Tony, before I kick it off to Matt, anything?
You know, it's a huge anniversary for Amtrak, 50 years, which doesn't seem possible. I mean, Amtrak was around from the time I was a little kid, but as Matt said at the opening, you know, that Amtrak, you know, has always been challenged. And here, 50 years, who would have thought? So it's fantastic. There's lots of books. There's lots of models. There's a lot of attention towards it this year. And I met Matt earlier, I think it was earlier this year, and we did a podcast on a modeler's life, and I was just blown away with the amount of information and the knowledge he has on Amtrak paint schemes and the things you learn from that insider's perspective of, you know, this is his job. He does it. We're just fans and enjoy the trains. So it was fun to hear and learn all this. So I know everybody's going to get a blast out of Matt and his information tonight. And all the companies, I can't believe everybody we got here tonight, Ken. Wow. I was going down the list today thinking of all the different products and getting some prototype pictures for them. And there's so much Amtrak coming out, and we got the cream of the crop here tonight with us.
Without a doubt, Tony, a lot of participants tonight, and I think it's going to be a great event. So without further ado, we're going to kick it off with Matt because we got a lot to cover tonight, and we'll keep it short.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Ken. Thank you, Tony. And thank you to all the model manufacturers who've taken time out of their evening to be a part of this. I can't thank everybody enough for this. This is a really big deal for Amtrak. And as was said earlier, I don't think it's ever been a greater time to be an Amtrak modeler either. And I've been saying that now for the past several years. It just seems to be, as every year that goes on, more and more Amtrak models are made available. The bar is being raised as far as options, details. It's really quite awesome. So I'd like to start. I'll share my screen. Hopefully this will pop up. Let me know if it looks like it's strobe lighting. I'm not sure. Are you seeing that okay?
No, it's strobing.
That's really weird. Let's see if we can figure this out. Let's see. Let me stop the share and try to share again. All right, let's try this again.
There we go.
All right. The internet is working on our side now, finally. Thank you. So I've been with Amtrak for 16 years now. I started as a ticket agent, but 10 years ago, a lot of people probably remember the 40th anniversary because it was a pretty big deal for Amtrak in that we had different P42s painted in heritage schemes for the first time ever. And we also had an exhibit train. Hopefully many of you got the opportunity to visit. It went around the country for several years. And there's a picture of the store car. So I was involved in the creation of the exhibit train with a wonderful team of people at Amtrak. And we were able to design the heritage schemes and adapt them to the P42, which was interesting because most of those liveries, the older ones, were designed for locomotives like E units and F units that had a really defined nose. And of course, the P42 is just kind of has that angular slanted nose to it, which is a little bit different. But that was a huge success. People were very happy with it. And we were able to do a lot of cool things with that. And that was my first experience getting involved with some of these manufacturers, because Amtrak did the exclusive models of the exhibit train, as well as some of those P42s. Let me figure out how to advance the slide here. I think I fixed the strobing issue, but I might have there we go. Figured it out. Wonderful. So this is one of those models I was talking about. The real phase 1 locomotive number 156 is in the background with the exhibit train. This was our Chicago event. And Mildred was kind enough to model the 156 HO scale version with the real one, which was really cool. And it was available through the Amtrak store. And then, of course, we also did not only just those models, but we worked with Walthers, who unfortunately was not able to join tonight, but to do a lot of equipment that had never been done in Amtrak's current paint scheme, which a lot of people knew is Phase 4B, but it's actually called Phase 6. And we saw amazing success. And eventually, I ended up moving into a role in marketing, and my current role overseeing the brand. And I inherited the Amtrak store operation as part of my duties. And as part of that, we looked at doing other models and had done other things when it made sense. But we really expanded the licensing program. And since then, we've seen exponential amount of more Amtrak models that are available on the market over the past 6 or 7 years. And I think that's what it's all about for us. We realize we're not a model train manufacturer. We're a passenger railroad, and working together with all the different manufacturers to create models that are more accurate, that are more detailed, and represent the brand in a way that we're, just not cut out to do. It's a wonderful partnership. So thanks again to everybody who's part of this. And part of that is for the next generation of Amtrak fan and hobbyist. I think a lot of us, myself included, I remember I got my first train set, I think, when I was around 7 or 8 years old. And that's a memory that, I'm always going to hold on to. And this little boy here was at one of those events where there was a model railroad set up in the station for our 40th anniversary. And you can just see the look on his face. I mean, he is 100% into that. And that's how you make a brand loyalist for life. You create that emotional engagement with people, and it's a special thing. So I think model trains are a perfect way. It's a great hobby, not only for young kids, but all ages, also adults. And there's many ways to enjoy. You can get really detailed with it, or you can just something as simple as throwing some track around the tree at the holiday time. And that brings us up to today, Amtrak's 50th anniversary. It's hard to believe 10 years have gone by. And Amtrak was, created as, basically the solution to all the predecessor railroads that basically wanted to get out of the passenger train business for one reason or another. And anything short of Amtrak likely would mean that this country wouldn't have passenger train service, or it would be quite different than what it is today. So I think it's a real, milestone in not only railroading history, but American history as well. And we're happy to be able to be serving people, especially coming off of a pandemic that was very tough for not only the travel industry, but many other industries. And we're looking forward to people coming back and traveling on the trains. So starting of Amtrak, it was actually 1970. It was an act of Congress. There was 6 months basically from the time that the go button was pushed until the first train needed to operate. And it was described in a recent interview I did that's on the Amtrak YouTube channel about designing Amtrak liveries. A guy by the name of Ralph Dollinger is Amtrak's 7th employee, and he said it was chaotic. It was just an awful lot to have to get done, and there was not a lot of people at the beginning to do it. And the original name for Amtrak was Railpax, and that was changed to Amtrak before the actual start of operations. Thankfully, I think Amtrak has a much better ring to it. But there was a lot of work ahead of the railroad at that time, and it was just getting the trains running and keeping the railroad going. And so on that first day of operations, there was only one locomotive that was painted, and that is E8 number 4316. It was purely, done just to show, the new logo, the new name, and to get something out there for the first day of operation. And it was very short-lived. It only lasted for about a year, and Amtrak was able to develop a better brand image and have more of a plan going forward for its livery. So that is also the locomotive that's on the shirt that Ken and both I are wearing that's available on the Amtrak store. But we thought when we were designing, coming up with ideas for the 50th and how are we going to do this, of course, when we were planning all this, it was the height of a pandemic. We weren't able to, do public gatherings or have an exhibit train going around the country. There was hardly anybody traveling at that point. So we weren't sure when things were going to change and how that was going to look. So we ended up, taking a page out of the history book. Said we had a lot of success with those heritage liveries, from the 40th anniversary. Well, how can we reinvent an old favorite? So we decided to take that livery and adapt it to our newest type of locomotive, the ALC 42, which are being built right now in California by Siemens. And this locomotive was just delivered last week, and it will be undergoing testing. And probably, I'm assuming it'll enter testing or enter revenue service, I should say, hopefully before the end of the year, maybe as soon as the fall. But it's a one-off, and we did 301 to recognize it was for the first day and a one-off. So Bachman's going to be speaking to that. And of course, Rapido did the E8 version. So it's really cool to have models coming out of these things that are so instrumental in the history of Amtrak. And it's really interesting. A lot of people didn't even know that livery existed until we started promoting it a lot. It was kind of a well-hidden secret. But we also decided, why stop there? Let's do some old favorites, some new designs that had not been done yet. And we have a total of 6 different locomotives, 5 P42s, plus that ALC 42. And all but one of them are completed and out on the rails. The 46 was the first one. That's in our phase 5, one of our current liveries. We have the Midnight Blue livery, which was something all new that we'd never done before. And this was one that I have the pleasure of working with a really talented team of designers. And they came up with an idea that they wanted to do. It actually kind of morphed out of the original designs for the P42s. There were some simplistic designs with single colors. They said, what if we did just an all solid color? And we just spitballed ideas, and what was born from that was this Midnight Blue locomotive. And it honors all the employees involved in keeping America's railroad running 24/7 throughout the day and the night. Because I think a lot of people, it's easy to think, you see a train and you associate it with, taking it whenever you're on it. But even when you're not on it, there's people in our maintenance facilities, there's people in our operation centers that are involved in roles behind the scenes to keep these trains going. And they're the unsung heroes of Amtrak. So this locomotive is is a tribute to them. And then we released number 161, the phase 1, Amtrak's first official livery. The 156 that we had done for the 40th anniversary is out of service, and we wanted to replace that. So that's it getting its final touches at Beech Grove, but that's been out on the rails now for a while. And just this week, the 108 was released in what we call the phase 6 50th anniversary livery. So you can see it's got a very bold look to it with the Amtrak red across the cab, and primarily Amtrak blue is the main body color with a large Connecting America for 50 Years super graphic. And the last but not least is going to be the number 160, the -8 phase 3 50th anniversary livery, which hopefully will be rolling out in about a month or so, and that'll complete the lineup. So a lot of really cool stuff out there. Hopefully people get a chance to see it if they haven't seen any of these already, and they'll be running around the system. But one of the questions I often see, I do a lot of social listening, is why didn't Amtrak paint that livery, the -8 livery, on a -8? And it's a great question, but there's a really good answer for it. None of the -8s are due for paint. And one of the main criteria of being able to do all this, of course, remember Amtrak was, not moving a lot of people due to the pandemic. We had furloughs. Financially, we didn't have money to be putting into a huge celebration like we did for the 40th. So we were able to use existing budget dollars for P42s that were already budgeted and lined up to go through overhaul. So it was a way to celebrate the 50th without adding on extra, cost that hadn't been budgeted for. So that's one reason. And the other is, even if we did have budget for painting Dash 8s, most of them are in yard and work train service today. And according to our fleet plan, their time is limited on our roster, and they're due for replacement over the next several years. So we figured in order for people to enjoy these liveries, we wanted to do it on locomotives that would be leading passenger trains all across the system, and not on a locomotive that would primarily be relegated to work train or yard service. And lastly, if you haven't checked it out, again, the shirt that I'm wearing and Ken's wearing is available at amtrak.com/store. We've got a whole bunch of specific Amtrak 50th anniversary items for a wide range of ages and tastes. We have a luggage tag there in the bottom left, even a necktie that is reminiscent of the 4316 with the elongated arrow logo, different shirts, and the wall stickers, which are removable. And we have one of each of the 6 different liveries Amtrak's had so far, phase 1 through 6, on different locomotives Amtrak is purchased brand new. And from August 17th through the 19th, we're planning a sale for $10 off your cart on any order of $50 or more. It's a one-time use thing. But if you have never been to the Amtrak store, please check it out. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. That's an introduction to some of the stuff we've been working on. And I'll turn it back to you, Ken.
That's awesome, Matt. And you got me pumped up for this. This shirt came in. It's beautiful. You're mentioning the merch store. So I want everyone to put it in the chat. Type in Amtrak swag and your zip code, and I will actually personally buy something off Amtrak.com website on the merch store, and we'll ship it out to you. I'm spending my father's and uncle's money like crazy tonight doing all these raffles, but it's well worth it. So,
well, thank you, Ken. That's really generous of you. That's awesome.
You got it. So type in the chat Amtrak swag and your zip code, and we'll pick out a winner. I'll order it on Amtrak.com. Once I receive it, I'll ship it out to you. I'll get your size, and we'll try to get a T-shirt for you. So that's great, Matt. And I just have to say, this is groundbreaking, Matt, because this has never been done really in the industry before, where a manufacturer is actually on live the same time as all these great model train companies that actually manufacture and replicate your product. And, there's so much synergy between the national trains, rail fanning, model train enthusiasts. So it all kind of ties in together. So we really appreciate you being on tonight and doing that presentation. And you could tell by the chat, everybody's pumped up about these paint schemes. They look amazing. And even better, the model train hobbyists now get to see who comes out with the great Amtrak product. And we're all excited. So let's kick it off. And I got to see who's first. Let's see. I think Bachman and Larry Harrington is up first. So let me get you on, Larry. And
I just unmuted, so I'm ready to go.
All right. And thank you very much for that, Matt. And just so everybody out there knows, as these model train manufacturers go and presentate their product, we will have Matt, James, Wright, and also Tony chime in with some additional commentary. Matt will give maybe some Amtrak insights. James and Tony will give more of a model railroading perspective. So we're going to have a great night, all full of product. So stay tuned, and there's more to come. So let's get Larry on here. And Larry, I'll also share the video. You just tell me when you need it to be shared.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks again for having me tonight, Ken. We're happy to be here with Amtrak and all the other manufacturers. This is truly a unique event. And again, happy to be here. We've been working for Amtrak for many years. Made many models over the years. We've done Metro liners, P40s, Amfleet cars, both the Acellas and N-Scale and HO. We just recently did the ACS 64, and now our newest introduction is going to be the ALC 42, based on the charger platform that we introduced the SC44 charger last year, and now we have the new versions of the ALC 42. We just received the sample models just a few days ago, actually. Sent them off to Matt for him to look at, and we've been really pleased with what we got so far. So why don't you give us a little teaser there, Ken, on that video so we can show everybody.
All right. You guys ready?
We're ready.
Actually, let me just, before I play this, let me make sure it's sharing the audio. There we go.
Got to build the hype.
Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
All right. Wow.
Wow. Nice.
They did turn out really nice. And Ken, I'm going to give away some of Bachman's money. You can give away one of the new 50th anniversary chargers to someone.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Okay. All right. Well, Larry's putting out all the stops, and I just want to know, just give me the exact item again. This way I write it down.
Oh, Larry muted.
yeah, I hit it by accident. Sorry about that.
All right.
I was going to show you the
which train are we raffling off? So I make
the
a note.
301. The 301.
301.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
And those are sold out, aren't they, Larry?
Yeah, they're all spoken for, but we have a couple in our pockets. So
Wow, so that's super special. All right.
yeah.
So everybody out there, put it in the chat. Type in Bachman 301. Larry's the man, and your zip code or state, and we'll try to raffle off the 301. That's a huge thing. So Larry, thank you for that. And
You're
this is
welcome.
all totally off the cusp, unexpected. So thank you very much, Larry. Appreciate it. There's going to be a lot of people really happy they tuned in tonight.
Yes, they are. Well, here's the shot of the two models. I have all three of them, actually, but there's the 300 and the 301 on the track. I'm going to fire up the track now, and you can see the startup sequence we have for the... I don't have a microphone put on that, but yeah, you can also turn out the studio lights here for a second to get the full lighting effects. I know that's not your favorite, Matt, but...
And Larry, I don't think the 301's been shown before.
No, none of them have been shown before. This is all new stuff. So
Yeah,
we've had an illustration, but not the actual model shown yet.
And
So-
I want to hats off to Larry and his team at Bachman, because this is interesting. You know, they are manufacturing the model at the same time as the real ones that were coming out, and we had very limited prototype photos to go off. Of course, we have drawings, but once you see something, in person, it's a little bit different. It's a lot easier to see what
Exactly. There's been a little bit of a challenge. Matt and I, have been in communication with this, and we based off these samples were based off the artist renderings that Amtrak supplied to us, and they're spot on for that. But we've noticed that when they went into production, I guess some issues they had for placing the vinyl or whatever that's slightly different than stripe alignment and stuff like that. So we're making those adjustments, and the models will be accurate when they come out. But we've thoroughly gone over. We had a Teams meeting last week or so. It was spent about an hour online going over every little area of the locomotives, both the 301 and the Phase 6 livery. And here's the Phase 6 close up. So.
That looks awesome, Larry. And for a lot of fans that follow Amtrak, they may or may not know. So this is the first time the Phase 6 livery has been applied to a locomotive. Our locomotives for the past 20 or so years have been in Phase 5, and our cars are in what we call Phase 6. And we needed to get a livery in order, in short order, and the talented team of designers in our rolling stock engineering department based in Wilmington, Delaware. I'll give a shout out to Blair Slaughter, Seth Geist, and John Skalski. Those guys that I work with were able to come up with a livery that would be a transition, because we knew this, with Amtrak getting these new locomotives, we've got new train sets on order. There's a lot of change that's on the horizon, but a lot of it wasn't quite there enough to make a jump. For a rebranding effort as far as livery goes. We wanted something that would kind of be that transition, and Phase 6 is bridging that gap. It'll be on the first handful of locomotives before we switch over to Phase 7, and Larry's team really did it true justice. When I saw the model for the first time, I was blown away with how not only accurate and crisp the details. Like there's the little windshield wiper fluid fill station. That's like this little tiny dot. In real life, it's probably something that you'd stick like a gas can spout, and it's not very big at all. And you can actually read that lettering on this model. But it's amazing. The accuracy of the colors as well was spot on as well, which is always a hard thing. You would think it would be kind of easy this day and age with so much digital technology, but that's still a challenge to master.
Yes, it is. And once it's always good to have. Matt's provided us with a style guide that has all the paint chips in there, and sometimes we have to make a smart. Yeah, there it is.
It's my Bible. Yeah,
our Bible as well. So we're gonna have to add the Phase 6 locomotives in there soon, aren't you?
We have to do an update. Yeah, we've got Phase 2 and how to do it, and what colors go where, and all that stuff. But yeah, you guys did great.
Well, thank you for that. We appreciate the feedback, and we also have to give a little bit of a shout out to Siemens. They worked. Dave Ward is our head person out there that we deal with, and he would send in us photographs and specifications, and it all helps along the way. So
for sure. And the other feature on that locomotive that a lot of fans, so the Siemens Charger's been out for a number of years now, and you guys did a release of those previously, but this one's got an all new nose. Amtrak worked very closely with Siemens to redesign that nose, and it's actually a detachable nose on the actual prototype, because that way it's a lot easier to replace whenever there's collision or grade crossing accident or debris strike, anything like that, things that unfortunately go wrong out on the railroad. That reduces shop time, and that we took that opportunity to also give the locomotive a more aerodynamic look, and it is also more in tune. It's aligned with its electric sister, the ACS 64 Sprinter locomotive. So Bachman did a nice job of capturing those.
There's the ACS 64.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, can you show them both face to nose to nose, or head on? Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like this or like this?
Yeah, like straight at the camera, so you get to see the headlight and the ditch light housings are really similar. They're different, but there you go. Yeah.
So,
Nice job.
Thanks. This was also one of the special paint schemes that Amtrak came along with the mobility scheme. Was one of the first ones on the ACS 64. So we thought we'd bring this one out too and show this as well. This was on our second production run of the ACS 64s. So grab that while that's still in stock. So,
I got one of the Chargers here.
Yeah. So you could put the nose in. You could see the differences. You got a little bit better lighting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes, But you have the destination board and the contours are slightly different as well. So, but I think it's the Amtrak's version is very sharp looking. So, one thing about the Charger locomotive design is that, as Matt knows, most of the features are pretty much set in stone, but anything below the window is customizable by the railroad. And Amtrak chose this design, but when we designed the tooling for this locomotive, this part is actually a separate part that comes off that makes it less expensive for us to modify for different versions of the Chargers as they come out, and they're ordered by different railroads. So a couple of differences between this model is this one does not have the destination board. It has the strobes aren't used by Amtrak, so that's also not on this model. But all the sound features and all the other lighting features are fully functional and appropriate.
And Tony, did you have some pictures as well of the real that you wanted to share? Or
I do. This is, I think this first release came and went really quick. And the second one, Larry, I believe is stocked just recently, right? Of your first run, which matches this look. You can see
I honestly think we're sold out again already.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
I know it's been popular, but this is Amtrak, but it's Amtrak Midwest painted. This is in Kansas City, a shot I did in fall of 2019. But as you can see, kind of the headlights are more rounded, that destination board in between the headlights. So this is the first Bachmann model. And then what Larry's been showing us now with that kind of more streamlined or slicker looking nose is going to be what, Matt, that'll be the regular Amtrak ones. That although these say Amtrak, these are the Midwest ones with the state of Illinois and Missouri.
So it's actually, Wisconsin as well. So all of our shorter distance routes, which we call state-supported routes, because the way the law is written, anything under, I believe it's 750 miles, the states that those routes travel through pay most of the cost of that route. So there was, due to the way funding worked, I think it was, a federal grant for the purchase of those locomotives. The states applied and they own those locomotives, but they are operated by Amtrak on Amtrak routes. So that's why you'll see some specialized branding on different routes.
And like this one here, I'm showing this is from our May edition of Model Railroad News, is out in the Pacific Northwest. That's the Cascades scheme. And then what, Larry, the other one was a California one that has like I call it the spoiler on the back.
Amtrak Surfliner, yeah.
Surfliner, yeah. But they are really neat models. I can't think of a new diesel locomotive that I've had more feedback and more people talking about, and because they sold so fast that that first run, just wow, they were very, very neat.
Yeah, I've been both Bachmann for almost 14 years, and this has been by far the quickest selling locomotive we've ever had. It was actually sold out before we actually shipped the first one out. So just one more back to the 301. We are doing this a little bit differently. Typically, Bachmann is a build-to-stock company, and we bring them into our warehouse, and then our distributors and customers order them from us. Whereas this, we're making one time only. It is a pre-order, and they are completely sold out. The dealers have purchased them, and the distributors have purchased them. So you need to go. I know Train World's got a good bit of them, but everybody's got a limited supply. So if you want to get one of these babies, you better place your order as soon as possible.
Yeah, good thing you mentioned that, Larry. And James and Tony, I'm not sure if you got your orders in, but they're definitely going very quick. We actually bought a large amount extra but they're dwindling quickly. And as Larry said, Bachmann is sold out. So make sure you get your pre-orders on this because it's going to pre-sell out. Just a beautiful looking engine.
I've got to double check that, Ken. I know the new website. There's the new train roll website, but I got to look between the two because I remember reserving it when it first got announced because it was like too cool to miss.
Yeah, on the first iteration of those, they just ran so smoothly, and I love the sound. It was just a perfectly executed model. During the review process, I ran across no issues. It was just well done, and I'm sure that's going to continue with this run as well.
It's the same decoder. It's a wonderful piece of equipment that Train Control Systems, TCS, has developed. I was fortunate enough to go along with them to the TTCI testing facility and actually record the sounds off the locomotive for 2 days. We had one of the chargers that I think they're still out there. There's 5 of them that were not delivered to Amtrak Midwest yet I think there was roster space issues at the time. I'm not sure. That was almost 2 years ago now, so they may be in service now. But there were 5 of them there still at the testing facility, and they were using them for various software upgrades and maintenance testing and stuff like that. So it was really cool. We had full access for 2 days to the locomotive, and got to be able to get inside and control all the. We had to fool the locomotive on a few things with turning certain breakers off so that we could actually get the sounds we wanted. But it was a really neat experience.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, Larry, for showing all this great
No problem.
New Amtrak stuff. I think everyone's really excited on this. So that's great. And let's go next with Rapido. Jordan, we'll kick it over to you.
All right, thanks very much, and once again, thanks for having me on tonight.
Hold on, let me just get you on the big screen, as Larry called it, the Brady Bunch.
So as you know, we've got a ton of Amtrak stuff kind of in the works right now, or on the way very soon. So it's kind of hard to kind of decide where to start here. One thing I'll start with, share a couple of images here. Something we've got coming in very quickly in the next month or so are new F40s, our Amtrak F40s. They're arriving in September, and I've got some photos that I can share here. Pull this up in one sec. These are production models. Let's see if I can bring that. You see that there?
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so these are the later phase Amtrak F40 PHs. These were the ones that were delivered kind of in the late 70s, around 78, 79. We originally did the as delivered, the low number units, the first batch. It was 200 to 229 in our first release about 5 or 6 years ago. So these are the later units. They were long distance units. So you've got bigger fuel tanks. They were kind of upgraded from the earlier ones. This is actually kind of a 90s version of the F40. You've got the cones over the, I guess that's the K5 horns there. They were retrofitted with ditch lights.
Can you zoom in on that horn? I was going to say, it looked like it had the snow cones on there. That's really cool.
So we've actually, can you see that there?
Wow. Yeah, fantastic.
We've got the snow cones on there. Air conditioner, we've got the strobe lights. We've put all the details on these ones. And this is the later version. So we've got the retrofitted doors with kind of the rounded door windows on there, the etched metal visors and whatnot, and the mirrors. So these are really neat. These are actually, they're about to leave the factory. If they haven't already left, I think they're leaving in a couple weeks' time. So let me just flip through here. We've got some more shots. This is the same kind of that same phase, but an earlier version. This is the as delivered in phase 3. It's 288. So this is, as you can see, this has got the kind of the earlier details. It doesn't have the snow cones. It doesn't have the ditch lights. Some of the earlier kind of details. And you've got the larger fuel tanks. A lot of people asked us to do these for a long time because the earlier ones had the smaller fuel tanks for more kind of regional, more inner city. These were more commonly seen on the long distance trains. Through here, and I think we have a picture of the, yeah, there we go. There's phase 2 or 280 as delivered as well. Nice shot there. We've got the silver horns emergency lights, marker lights, everything has been included on these models. So that's the F40s. Like I said, they're actually coming pretty soon. So I'm not sure if you guys at Train World have any more of these in stock, but or kind of available for pre-order. But we're actually sold out at our end. So give a look on the website there. We flip over to one other thing here. Actually, I've got lots of other stuff to show, but let's go to something that Matt will probably enjoy seeing. So,
Please, it's the turbo liner.
It is. Absolutely.
All right. You know, you still have not paid your balance due for breaking the seat on the one.
I broke the seat that day. It's kind of debate if it was if I was the one that broke it or if it was Josh. But I still got the letter. I've got to frame it and put it on my wall here.
I think it's accruing interest, so I don't know what it's up to now, but you might want to pay that off.
Do you take turbo liners?
No, unfortunately, we don't. Just cash.
Yeah.
U.S. dollars too. Don't try to do the Canadian. Sorry, we need to. No conversion. We just want it straight up.
Yeah. The Canadian dollar's picked up a little bit lately, so still a little bit less.
I don't want to have to. We don't have to go to the bank and any of that. We just want it simple and easy, please, Jordan. Thank you.
So can you see that on the screen there? I've got the turbo on the screen.
It looks
okay.
Yeah. We can see it.
So we've got, this is the very first pre-production sample. There are still some updates that need to be applied to these. So we're actually working on a new sample right now. These actually do operate. We did a little quick video, I think, that went up on Instagram not too long ago. But this is the RTL1 as delivered. As you can see, we've got pretty much every detail you can think of that would have been on these. No one's ever done these before at HO or pretty much any scale for that matter. This is the ones that were built in by Rohr over in Southern California back in '76. You just flip through some of these photos. There's a look at the power car. So we do have some fit and finish issues on these early samples, but they do give you a kind of a very good look on how the models will turn out.
I have a question. Are those strobe lights going to be functional?
Strobe lights will be functional. Headlight, the marker lights. We have full interior lights. I believe there's a cab light as well. I might be mistaken. I might have to double check on that. But a full package of lights will be operating on these.
That looks really cool. Those are something I remember riding on as a kid, and I never thought I'd see a model of it. And those trains, I think, as far as their looks, they were way ahead of their time. They just
Absolutely.
were really cool.
It's they really were for the late '70s, mid '70s when they were built. They were like nothing you saw on the rails. I mean, you went from the E units, which were by that time 20, 25, 30 years old even. Yeah,
I know Jason likes his UA turbo train, but to me this is the one and only turbo liner. That's it. This has got it all over that.
Absolutely, same here. So.
And he's not here to defend it, so oh well.
No. He's probably sitting home on his computer screaming right now.
Good.
Some angry messages. But these are obviously my personal favorite, and we have to thank you too, Matt, because you've really helped us a lot with the design, a lot of the groundwork to get this model kind of off the ground and running. It was a bit of a long kind of haul to get this project going. We weren't sure it would succeed at first, so you were convincing Jason long before I was with the company, and then I kind of picked it up and went from there, and we kind of jumped into it I guess about 2 years ago now. And we actually got access to the existing turbos that are in storage. Another view of the kind of you see all the seats inside the power car. Got lots of underbody detail. We'll have a look at it in a second. Let's scroll through a bit here.
And it's been an interesting process too, because these trains are very unique. What I never realized before is that they actually, besides each power car having its own turbine for tractive effort, they also had a separate turbine for the HEP, which was kind of like an APU, auxiliary power unit, and figuring out how they worked and to help with to accurately reproduce sounds and get these to function. I think you guys, from what I've seen so far, have been doing a fantastic job. So I'm looking forward to more as this progresses, because these look absolutely amazing.
Yep, And of course, you can see the front of the cab car here. There are some things that need to be tidied up a bit. The windshield wipers, we're changing that design a little bit. But you can see all the separate door railings, the side mirrors, which will come. That's actually going to be a separate part in the box. We just kind of glue it on there. But everything else is included here. You can see the back of the cab wall, all the dials and gauges, seats, everything is in the cab. There's the end of the power car. So on these models, we're actually including kind of a drawbar system, similar to the NEM systems you see in Europe. That's to enable the sets to operate reliably on some tighter curves. But you can also convert, if you really want to have like a KD coupler, there's NEM KD conversions. You can convert these to. Again, you can see all the separate grabs, all the little receptacles and whatnot on the ends there.
Now, is that, Jordan, just curious, because I like how you included the detail of the knuckles, even though it's a drawbar system, but is that for operational benefit, so there's no slack action, or what's the purpose of that?
That's to enable the set itself to kind of maintain a close coupling while operating, especially when going around curves without kind of. So one of the problems we were worried about was put kind of a standard coupler on there because there's such a long car. If you're running on like tighter 22s, something like that, you're going to end up binding. So this system actually allows you to run on tighter curves without any kind of binding or derailment issues.
Okay, interesting.
Yep. And we're actually working on the exact kind of the final design of the drawbar, but it is this is an earlier version. It shows you kind of it's got coupler detail on it, and we're still kind of working on that though.
This is going to definitely give me a reason to have to try and convince my wife we need to have a layout because I haven't really modeled anything in about a decade. I get a lot of modeling at work, working with all you great manufacturers out there, but definitely been going over to other people's houses that have layouts and enjoy. I cannot wait to see one of these operate. It'll bring back a lot of great memories.
Absolutely, and the factory's actually working on doing a whole bunch of like all these revisions that I've been mentioning, and a whole bunch more. And we're expecting a sample painted by the factory and aiming for September. And if we can get that, we'll get a video up and we'll put a final order deadline well before the end of the year.
Jordan, just a quick question. Someone mentioned what radius would these run on?
We're still kind of nailing that down. It's probably a 22 is going to be the minimum that we recommend. I'd have to double check with Josh on that exactly what the suggestion was, but I think that's about what we're recommending. We actually did test them on 18s. They did run. We still have some touch ups with the draft gear to work on to make that run reliably. But so for now, we're kind of just saying stick to about a 22. They are a full size car, of course, a full length passenger car. And
I was really impressed with the interior details. I got to see this early model over the weekend and the heft of the power car.
Yep, they're very heavy.
First picked it up, I was surprised how heavy that somehow I just expected it to be much lighter. So I assume I have really good pulling ability, but the large windows from the cab and the sides, you always got a good look into this more so than a lot of other locomotives and passenger cars.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that really caught my attention was how nice the interior comes off inside the cars. It's really a sharp looking train.
And if you compare to like the Amfleet cars, the windows on these were huge.
Yes.
Square, so.
Those windows were great for going up and down the Hudson River and having a view of some of the a very picturesque ride on it. There's a few rides and routes that are really good, and that's one of them between Albany and New York City. And that's basically these trains lived out of Albany Rensselaer. That was the turbo shop was up there, and that's where they were maintained. Yep. For several decades. So it's I know there's a lot of modelers in the Northeast that are drooling over this model right now.
This also shows the different kind of radiator and vent systems. This has the later version. We're also doing earlier versions of the vents as they were delivered. That was changed pretty quickly in around 77, 78 because they were sucking in the snow in the winter and was causing problems. So we've got both the original and the rebuild vents on there. Of course, there's the underbody compressors, all the little equipment boxes. You can see the drive shaft. These were a direct drive turbo, so you've got the detail for that kind of the drive shaft and everything connecting right to the truck. Now that's not operating, of course, but it gives you that kind of that look.
So as far as operate, will both trucks on the power cars be powered, or how's it going to be powered?
So both power cars are powered, just the lead truck on both, but there's so much power. I mean, you'd be running them probably no more than 6 cars, maybe 7 anyway. So they'll have more than enough power to pull a set at a good speed. We actually tested one out just on DC, and it was fantastic. And all that weight really helped. It gives it so much traction. It's almost unbelievable. You could probably pull quite a large train with it if you really wanted to.
I assume for the DCC versions, Jordan, it's because you're obviously really controlling 2 locomotives.
Mm-hmm.
They'll both be under the same number, and the lighting and stuff will just directionally flip.
That's kind of the electronics are still being worked on, but I believe that's the plan. It's still that's going to be kind of the last thing we kind of sort out once the tooling's done. So we'll get that sorted out well before the end of the year, anyways. But that is the plan, though. Yeah. So that's turboliners, and the order deadline hasn't come for those yet. So we'll probably set that sometime in the fall. Now, what else do I have here? We got so much Amtrak stuff on the way. We've got obviously we've got the HO scale Horizons that delivered late last year, early this year. We've also got the N scale Amtrak Horizons, which are about ready to leave the factory as well. They should be arriving in September. October is going to be like Amtrak fall or something like that, if you want to call it that. We've got the Horizons coming. We've also got the express baggage cars, the Amtrak express cars. I think I've got a photo of those here as well.
Box cars, right? Not baggage cars.
Baggage cars. I don't know why I said baggage cars, but
I could only imagine Jordan at home screaming at his screen right now.
I mean, as CEO of Rapido, I need you to get that right, Jordan.
Absolutely. So this is just a quick photo. These are the express box cars in production at the factory. So we've got 2 versions. We've got 3 numbers in the early green, kind of a solid green, that's supposed to represent the Railway Express Agency, and we've got the Phase 4 silver cars. This is an early photo, so obviously these haven't been, striping isn't finished, the number lettering isn't on there, and they haven't been assembled, but these are coming along in the factory quite quickly. If you're modeling kind of the late 90s, early 2000s, these were all over the place across the country. So you'll want to have 2, 3, or 4, even more if you want, if it's a long train on your Amtrak train. So we'll hopefully have some more photos of these probably in August or September, and these will also be arriving before the end of the year. That's the express box cars. The other big thing that we've got, and we've already announced this, obviously at Christmas last year, is our E-units. Our E8s, we've got them coming along quite nicely. We've got the Amtrak 4316. That was the original Amtrak locomotive that we looked at earlier. So that engine is actually, we actually had the first sample arrive. It's not ready for showtime quite yet, but we're hoping to be able to show that off maybe late in August, early September. And those will be going into production pretty soon, probably early in the fall. That's the 4316, black E8.
The day 1 livery, yeah.
Yep, exactly. And I do have some, at the very least, I have some photos of the renderings.
Tony Cook had some fantastic photos he shared with me, and I believe he had that one in there as well. It was some really early era Amtrak stuff, which before my time, obviously, but it's a very interesting era of Amtrak, I think, for a modeler, just because of the variety that was out there. You know, Amtrak, there it is. It had this hodgepodge of inherited secondhand equipment, right? And then, in the earliest days, it was still in the colors of the predecessor railroads, and over the years, it slowly started getting into more of a. There is another version of a day 1 livery. That's another rare one. But yeah, a lot of different unique variations and mixtures of equipment that you could see back then.
Absolutely. And we've actually got both the 4316 and the original Phase 1 with the red nose, the E8s, coming in several different road numbers. We're going to have 2 batches of those, so we'll get the 4316s will be coming in their own shipment. We've got a custom box that's really cool. They're going to be coming in that. And then probably, it's a bit hard to say exactly when, but we'll have the rest of the E8s, including all the Amtrak Phase 1s, probably by the spring. They're coming along nicely. So like I said, we should have some nice samples to show pretty soon. I've got this is the renders actually, very early renders. So these were before some of the tooling adjustments had been made, but you've got all the different unique details. 4316 has that kind of that nose receptacle, lost its door, I think, something like that. Got the lift lugs on the nose, separate grab irons, etched metal grills, all kinds of really neat detail.
Yeah, that's a neat thing about that. Maybe you don't realize. You think, oh, this is just a special paint scheme doing that 4316, but Jordan, this is actually a completely different E unit from your other toolings for this release. So the model itself will also be unique. And I can't wait to find out about the boxes. Isn't it gonna because I've got one of these on order. It comes in what, a wood box or something? And
Yep.
I saw someone posted. What's that?
I've seen a photo of one already. It's a large wooden box. It's specific just for the 4316. It's going to have a nice Amtrak 50th anniversary plaque on the front. I don't have a photo of it tonight, but probably sometime, maybe in the next little while, I can put one on our Facebook page and we can share that.
It's really nice that you guys are doing this so detailed. Yeah, there's that receptacle on the nose, but not only that, one of the major spotting features of Amtrak E8s was the removal of the porthole windows on the side, the circular windows. Most of Amtrak's E8s had those removed, not all, but I think, is this not the first time anybody's done that in HO scale with just what I call a smooth side, no window E8?
I believe so.
I believe it is.
So. And we've actually designed this tooling so the body is we've actually got several different bodies we've tooled, but in terms of the sides, it's actually an inserted part. So we can do any combination of portholes, different porthole locations. It's a square piece that just fits right in the body side. It fits in seamlessly. So we can do almost any combination that we'd like to. And that's it's really neat how that's going to turn out. So like I said, we should have some first samples to show sometime in the next month.
Great. And I saw somebody ask if my signature will be there. And I had agreed to that well before we knew how popular this model was going to be. And now I'm having second thoughts of why I did. But hopefully it will not devalue the model that much for the long term, by having that signature in there. But I'm still going to keep to my word on that and look forward to doing that.
Absolutely. We actually we announced these just at Christmas that we were doing the special run of 4316s. So we announced that we were making 500 in total, and they were sold out within 48 hours. And so we reopened that order book, and the orders, we got so many orders for those. They've been one of our, just for a single SKU, one of our best selling locomotives ever. So that's really exciting. And Matt, we'll send you a bag of pens. So.
I'm going to need them. Are you going to cover my carpal tunnel surgery?
Sure.
Well? Okay.
I'll have to talk to the boss about that one.
All right.
We'll pay you in more units, I guess.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And speaking of the turboliners, so that is the HO model that we were showing before. A lot of people asked for them in N scale as well. So maybe one day. So that'll be cool if we do those. We'll see. In terms of other Amtrak stuff, I think I've probably forgotten a few things. I already mentioned the End Horizons on the way. These I've probably forgotten about some, but we have a lot. We've actually got something else we're working on. Probably be hearing about that pretty soon as well in the next couple months. So,
Jordan, I noticed a couple questions about sound in these models. You guys are paired up with ESU, correct?
Yes, these will all be coming with ESU V5 decoders.
Okay.
All right, so I guess that's pretty much everything that I can remember at the moment. I'm probably, like I said, I've probably forgotten something, but thank you, and this has been a great event so far.
Awesome, Jordan.
Ken, I don't think those guys at Rapido sleep. I said that to Matt Gentry recently. I said, "Do you guys ever sleep?" Yeah. Wow. I think I'm busy. No.
That's it. Thanks very much, Jordan. Do appreciate it. Really excited to see all the Amtrak product coming out, and a lot of good stuff. And now we're running a little behind, but we're getting there. A lot of good stuff to cover. We're gonna kick it over to and stay with like the HO theme with Jim Wiggins from Athern Trains. How you doing, Jim?
Doing good, Ken. How about yourself?
All right, not too bad. Good to see you.
Nice to have you on there. And by the way, Ken, this is great. And Matt, also thank you, Tony and James. Thanks for putting this together. This is great. And I mean, the timing couldn't be better. There's some really great models out there, and happy to say that Athern is listening. You know, our fans asked, and we listened, and we will deliver. Not to coin a phrase from another railroad, but we've got something in HO, and we've also got something in N scale for all the Amtrak fans out there. So we've got something really special, and we wanted to save it for this event because, again, like you said, this is a big deal. I don't think this has ever been done before. All the manufacturers and Train World and Amtrak come together like this. So, as you know, we announced our Surfliners this past month, and hoping all of you fans out there at Train World, I hope you got your pre-orders in. You got till Friday to get those Surfliners ordered up. But we've got something really special, and I'm giving you guys a sneak peek of what we're going to introduce this Friday. So I'm going to share my screen here real quick.
I think this is going to be big, Ken. That's my prediction.
So we've talked about some great locomotives, but you know, Matt, I'm pretty sure this is pretty much the meat and potatoes of Amtrak, and we had a lot of requests for these P42s and the Amtrak 50th anniversary.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, because my inbox gets a lot of requests, and I try to tell people I don't really have control over how other companies spend their money. I certainly make suggestions, but I can't make anyone do anything. But yeah, these I'm sure will be a hit.
You know, we had the P42s. We announced them last year originally, and they came into stock this past March, April. And we had a lot of great feedback, a lot of happy customers and fans out there. And the first thing they did is once they got these locomotives, they said, hey, by the way, did you know Amtrak is going to be doing 50th anniversary paint schemes? You should do that. And, you know, the team of developers we have here at Athern, they're not just guys that sit behind a desk or a computer. They're actual modelers. They are listening. We're all listening at Athern. And so we worked with Matt. We worked with Amtrak. And we're pleased to announce these 50th anniversary P42s. And we've got these great pictures here that we got from Amtrak, but we're doing all the P42s like we've talked about earlier. I'm just going to scan through real quick and show you the artwork a little bit closer. But we've talked about the midnight scheme, the dark blue, really eye-catching paint scheme. And the P42 wears it quite well. We're real excited about that. And we got to remember our roots. Just, you know, Matt, you had said earlier, you know, when Amtrak first came into being, you know, the schemes were pretty much chosen, you know, based on what you had, like the E8s and some of the earlier locomotives that were inherited. And it's kind of neat to see a modern-ish locomotive with these retro paint schemes. It's kind of like a retro rod. The P42 wears this scheme very well.
Agreed. Thank you.
And Jim, just to note, your first run of P42s, I think, sold out quicker than we actually got to look at them. But this is going to be a home run for sure.
Now we've had a lot of requests for these. You know, as you know, I do Train Tuesday every Tuesday. people are asking, hey, are you going to do these 50th anniversary locomotives? And I've been having a hard time keeping this under wraps. I couldn't hold it anymore. This scheme in particular is very popular with Athearn customers. We really had a lot of folks like the Cola paint scheme. And it, again, the P42 wears it extremely well.
It really does. It's amazing. And that's, Matt, don't you have a good video on the guy that designed that scheme? Because what the locomotive wasn't that GE was kind of boxy and not streamlined. So this look was to try to make it look sleeker. And even on a sleek locomotive, look how good it looks.
Yeah, it was. The guy's name is Blair Slaughter, and he's been with Amtrak for quite a long time. I was fortunate to do an interview with him and several other people involved over the years with creating Amtrak's liveries. But we show in that video, he speaks to the process and some of the alternative designs that they had come up with, and before landing on what was the final version. And it was exactly that. It was essentially to disguise a big boxy freight locomotive, or at least dress it up, to take your eye off of the sort of, utilitarian design of the body of the locomotive, to give you bold colors and designs. And this was one of those liveries we were looking at doing when we were talking about, hey, we want to do some new, we want to do some old. And this one came up as hands down. I saw a question earlier, why didn't we do the as delivered phase 3? That the P40s came in with the fade out stripe, and that was discussed, but everybody involved on the team thought that this one would be one that we need to do. We can't do everything, and that of course leaves something to do later on in the future, another day, another year. But I think this one is going to be one of the favorites of not just me personally, but I think a lot of fans as well. So that's the finishing touches are being put on this design now. And like I said, probably about a month or so, we'll see the actual unit, but we'll work closely with you guys to make sure this is going to be an accurate representation.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this again. I mean, I remember seeing it originally back in the 90s, and again, the P42 really wears it well, and it's really an eye-catching paint scheme. And again, we had a lot of Athearn customers request this scheme in particular.
And it was neat because I was just a fan at the time myself when the original Dash 8 rolled out with that livery, and to be able to work with the guy that designed the original to make the adaptation for the P42 is just it was super cool. It was a really fun project, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, these are all great paint schemes, and I mean, that's the great thing about modelers. I mean, we like our everyday paint schemes that we're used to on our locomotives, but there's something really cool about an anniversary, a special run locomotive. And I mean, personally, Matt, I think you guys in the paint shop on these P42s and just hit the ball out of the park and just made our job that much more fun. I know the developers have had a lot of fun with these, and if you missed out on the P42s that had come out earlier this year, here's your chance now. We're going to start pre-orders on Friday afternoon, right after the live feed. And, these, I'm willing to bet these are going to probably sell even better than the previous run of P42s. And again, they're Genesis quality. So they're going to have the Genesis quality that you come to expect with all the details and the grab irons. And you can get them with sound or without sound. They're going to come with the Tsunami 2 DCC decoders. And I mean, really, all these paint schemes are just so eye-catching. You're going to want to get one of each.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and you hit the nail on the head. That it takes a team's effort to pull this off. All of these P42s, the real versions, are being painted in-house by Amtrak at our Beech Grove, Indiana maintenance facility as locomotives are undergoing overhaul, and they've been fantastic to work with, and very excited to be able to do this as a celebration, because we knew way back when we started brainstorming all these ideas that this was really going to be the the biggest way for us to have an impact nationally, since we were in the middle of COVID and there wasn't going to be an ability to do in-person events like we had done for the 40th. So we're excited that people all throughout the country and even up into Canada, on our different routes, will hopefully have a chance to see these at one point or another throughout the lifetime of these paint schemes. So it's a pretty cool thing to figure out, just to imagine how many trains they're going to operate on and how many different people are going to be able to see it all over, the thousands and thousands of miles of network that we operate. It's really cool.
It really is cool. And one of the things I'm looking forward to, Tony, you'll appreciate this, is the pictures we're going to get from our fellow rail fans and modelers. I mean, these are just going to show up, like Matt said, all over the network.
Yeah.
And I mean it's kind of history in the making. In the past, some of the paint schemes we've talked about here today, even we were fortunate enough to have some rail fans take those pictures to go from. And Athern was lucky enough to have this great relationship with Amtrak that we could actually work and kind of be at the ground floor of these paint schemes. And so it was just a great opportunity. We saw history in the making. We had a customer fan base that really wanted to see us do this. It was kind of a no-brainer. The developers at Athern have said, well, we've got the basis for this, and the P42s ran absolutely flawlessly out of the first run. So why not do a follow-up? And it's one of those things. It's kind of like that old phrase. You, the fans, have asked for it, and we listened, and we're gonna have these out. Now these will be out tentatively. Pre-orders will be till the end of August, and they should be delivered August of 2022.
Very cool.
Now we didn't stop there either. There's, I mentioned earlier we talked about the surfliners, and the surfliners. If you haven't had a chance, you still got a few days before the pre-order ends. Look on Train World's website. Look on Athern.com. Check out the new announcements. And the surfliners are all new for us. They are brand spanking new, ground up Genesis cars. And but we've had a lot of people ask, "Hey, that's great. I've been wanting these surfliner cars for a while, but I need something for some motive power." And do not worry. We are bringing back the F59 in the Ready to Roll line. That's going to also come out in August. And we're also doing a paint scheme we've not done before. And Matt, you probably know a pretty good amount of information on this next paint scheme. But the B-Track Smart paint scheme. It's the first time we've ever offered this paint scheme on this locomotive.
Yeah, for the Operation Lifesaver. So I saw that one in person. That's pretty cool. Operation Lifesaver, the state of California and Amtrak teamed up to do several different wraps over the period of the lifespan of these F59s. And I know you guys have done a lot of different versions of those in the past. Some are quite colorful, and that's cool to add this. I think this was the only one you had not done before, actually.
Yeah, this is the first time we've ever done it. I think we wanted to do it in a previous run, but the timing just wasn't right. This one, the timing was perfect, and our developers had access to all of the information they needed to do it up accurately. And so we're more than pleased to offer this locomotive, like I said, for the first time in the Ready to Run line.
That's awesome. Even I just think it's really cool that to see the Surfliner cars being done. I think the Superliner versions had been done before, in the Surfliner livery, but the Pacific Surfliner livery for those F59s and the California bi-level cars was designed for that service, and it has not changed in over 20 years, which is really cool that it's been that consistent. And it's an amazing trip, especially south of LA when you're heading to San Diego, running right along the beach. If you've never experienced it, it is a fantastic Amtrak route to ride or to rail fan. But now to be able to model it, it's filling I think a much needed void. So thank you guys for doing that.
Yeah, we want to thank you too, and it's kind of a generational thing too. If you think about it, for a lot of the older modelers out there, it didn't matter where you lived, whether it was Illinois or Maryland or Florida. Everybody had seen the this great passenger trains of the Santa Fe of the past, and now we've kind of that the baton has been passed to Amtrak with the surfliners, and we're getting requests from customers all over the United States and Canada, which is great, and that just shows you how popular that train is. And I think naturally the landscape definitely has a part to do with it, but it's really gaining some momentum. And the surfliners, honestly, that was probably one of our most requested new items this past year.
I know you're going to have a lot of people in other scales wanting to see this as well too. I like I said, I do a lot of social listening out there just to see what people are talking about, what's being requested, what's going on in the community, and this one made a big splash. It's something people wanted for a long time. So I wish you guys all the success with it.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. We appreciate that. And one thing I failed to mention, not only are we doing those F-59s in the ready to roll HO, but for you N scale guys out there, we're doing them in N scale as well. Now, don't think just because they're N scale, they're not going to have the same sound features as the HO. We are going to put sound in the N scale version as well. So there you go. We get a lot of N scale fans out there. We don't want to forget you. So those F-59s, we're going to be talking about those in August, and after Friday, this coming Friday, you can pre-order those with Train World, and whether it's HO or N, we've got an F-59 for you, and we've got some other things that we're working on too that I'm sure fans of both HO and N scale are going to enjoy.
Jim, that's amazing, and I just like to take a second to pause to talk about that and what it means, because when I was a kid and I had my first, it was a Bachmann train set, it was all DC. There was no such thing as DCC. And if you wanted to run more than one train, you had to have a block system and stuff that was, complicated for a kid that was just trying to get into this. And now to hear you say that an N scale locomotive is going to come with sound, that's something that was unfathomable 10, 20 years ago to out of the box, right? And I mean, yeah. The ways that this hobby has come leaps and bounds technologically, but also as far as the releases, that's what's available, not just with Amtrak but any other railroad. It's really amazing to see. And unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity, and I think that's people meaning well, where a new release comes out and you see people wanting to hear about something else. And I've gained a whole different respect in the last 10 years that I've been involved in one way or another with the industry and models of what actually goes into making a new model or changing tooling or even changing the paint on something. And it's a lot more involved than you'd think, and it's very easy to make mistakes too. I as part of what I do with licensing for Amtrak is all the manufacturers send their artwork to me to review, and I look at it for the brand accuracy. So that's mostly colors and logo. But being that I have an operations background and I used to do a lot of modeling, I understand some things. If they can be tweaked, I'll make suggestions. And of course, it's up to the manufacturers. It's their ultimate product. But it is really easy to miss a small detail on a PDF, essentially. And then when you see it on the actual model, you're like, oh, geez, how did I miss that? But and I know you guys get a lot of criticism from your fans and customers about that stuff. But I just wanted to, congratulate you guys on everybody on how advanced this hobby has gotten and what y'all have been doing to raise that bar, because it's not easy. And a lot of times, even when we're talking about this equipment, take that E8, for example. It's long gone, and it only lasted for 1 year. So whatever photographs were out there is it. I don't even know if video exists of it. I have not been able to find a photo of it from Amtrak's first day of operations. So it's really hard to go off of limited resources. But even when you're talking something brand new, whether it's these 50th anniversary, the ALC 42, I mean, that just got launched in real life. It's not even in revenue service yet. And here's a sample model that's on this video. To me, that is just awesome to see that level of dedication. I remember it used to be years before you would even hope for an Amtrak model. Once the prototype came out, before you would see rumblings of a model just being announced, let alone able to be purchased. So hats off, you guys. It's really cool, and I look forward to this trend hopefully continuing.
Yeah, thanks, Matt, for that. It's always good to hear everybody's point of view on this, and this is one of those things where we're actually fortunate because working with Amtrak, we have an advantage that you wouldn't have with an older prototype, like you mentioned. Some of those prototypes don't exist anymore. All we have are pictures and books and things of that nature. Whereas right now, these are actually here, or they're up and coming, and it's just great that we have the opportunity to work with Amtrak to get something not only for the enthusiasts, but maybe some young person out there or somebody that may not even be remotely into trains sees one of these 50th anniversaries on a trip. Maybe they go from one place to another on one of their trips and they see that special locomotive. They might want to have a keepsake, and we want to make sure that their keepsake is as accurate as the full-scale locomotive.
And that's another, I think, a big key to it as far as the overall, what we want to see on the Amtrak side. Fine scale models are a niche in market, and that's a fantastic hobby. It's a great thing, but getting the next generation involved, how do you do that? One of the other things, with that extra detail and these extra technological advances comes, an extra price tag too. And so some of that's, cost prohibitive. I know a lot of our, at times I talk with our licensees, and I'm always asking, how about the entry level market? Someone who just is looking to not, take a huge plunge and invest, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on getting into a hobby, but something they can get out of the box and roll with. And I know there's been a lot of advance with that. And one of the things we've even done with the Amtrak store is for the very young version of modeler is to come up with the wooden scale of the Amtrak wooden railway. There's the Acela. We've done the P42 and the Superliner cars, and we're looking to come out with the Viewliner 2 fleet in wooden trains, as well as the ALC 42. We're hoping to launch those this fall because that's a huge part of it, is recognizing that in order for this hobby to survive, you need to have young blood getting into it. You need to have new people interested. And the exciting and promising part is there's no lack of, from what I've seen, a younger generation of rail fan out there interested in these new trains. And I just ask people to be kind to them, because I remember when I was a kid seeing turboliners and F40s. If I went to a local train club, it was people that were into this transition era where it was steam or railroads that I had no recollection of with streamlined trains. And yeah, it was cool, but I liked what I as a kid, what I was seeing or riding on, going on vacation with, and that was Amtrak. And a lot of people would scoff at that back then. And I think a lot of that is that is gone down by the wayside. And now I see sometimes it's Amtrak modelers, sometimes, and meaning well, saying, oh no, the best is this, and that's the only thing that makes sense. And while some of that can be all and well and good and fun, sometimes people take it a little too far. I think it's a wide range of hobby and wide range of interest. And even with Amtrak having 50 years, there's a wide range of even Amtrak to choose from. And it's a great hobby no matter what your focus is. And that's part of the fun, right? You get to do it either as prototypically as you want, or you get to have as much fun as you want, adding the 4316 day one E8 with the ALC 42 number 301 to pull your train around the track, which will obviously never happen, but that's part of the fun of the hobby. So yeah, it's a lot of good things coming. I appreciate that.
Preach, Matt, preach. Very cool. It's definitely true, without a doubt.
Well, that was huge news, Ken. I can't believe it. Athearn is.
Yep.
I know you've been hearing it. I've been hearing it. I can now answer about 100 emails in my inbox of, yes, I'm sure someone will do P42s in the anniversary colors. No, I don't know who. No, I don't know when. Now I can answer that question.
And,
Wow.
and I will say Jim had this wrapped up pretty tight because I said to him, we're going to have Amtrak on. If there's anything you want to come out and announce. And Jim was like, yeah, maybe I'll surprise you. So it was great timing, Jim. Glad you were able to come on. And the passenger cars, too, I mean, are a huge announcement as well. So don't forget about those. So awesome stuff. Thank you so much for being on tonight. We really appreciate it, Jim.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Matt. Thanks, James and Tony. It's been a great opportunity.
Yeah, real quick, I've been breaking my wrist to make this point. The P42s from the most recent release are just bricks. I don't know what you guys put in them.
Yes. Yeah.
But they're really a good executed model, and they sound good, run good. And I had like 6 on the last review that I was really late on, but they're a great model. So I'm sure the next one will be great. Here's the Phase 3, Amtrak number 77. I just grabbed one of them real quick to show you guys, but good executed model, and I'm sure the next round will be as well.
Thank you, James. We appreciate that, and we're glad that you're happy with them. I know a lot of people watch your reviews, and we do appreciate your comments.
And I think that's important too to get out there, because that P42 goes all the way back to the very end of the blue box days. And then it was a ready to roll model for years.
Right.
So this past run that sold out so quick is a Genesis version of this. And you're thinking, well, how different is it? As James said, when I first picked one of these up, it's like, wow, they were so heavy. They ran so great. This is our review that's in the current August 2021 of 2 of the models. And again, as I say, this has moved up from ready to roll to Genesis for the first time, which then also gives you DCC and sound, which I thought those features were fantastic on this model. But it is really an impressive effort. Look at the antennas there on 66 is one of the 40th anniversary units, and you'll compare it to, here's an as delivered 77 different antennas. I mean, this is a completely different model from what we knew, as our ready to roll. And you can see it here with the shell off, showing the 2 speakers and everything. So again, this is not, the maybe the P42 you remember or had seen before. If you missed this first release, this is an amazing upgrade this time. These were fantastic looking models.
Yeah, Tony, you bring up some good points. I mean, I remember the blue box version of this many years ago, and at the time that was a great model. For what it was, for the technology that we had available at us at that time, it was a great running model. But then we furthered it even more, and we took it to the ready to roll line, which gave it some more fidelity, slightly better drivetrain. Now we're Genesis, and one of the things that we try to repeat over and over again is this really is an all new model. It's all new ground up Genesis model. It's kind of like those car commercials. We took everything we had and we put it over here, and we just dove. The developers just dove in real deep, ground up. And, just real quickly, some of the features of this, there's 2 different nose variations that Amtrak has. I'm sure Matt talked about it on one of the other models, but the P42s are no different. There's 2 different types of noses, and depending on the specific prototype that you pick up, it's going to have one of those 2 different noses. Our developers have worked with Amtrak and worked with all of their documentation to make sure that you get the correct version. Not only that, but you get your MU hoses, your train hoses, your grab irons are all separately applied. Of course, Genesis is also known for that razor sharp, thin painting and demarcation of all those different colors, so it looks just as good as the full scale. And you have options too. You can either get the full house Tsunami DCC, sounds amazing by the way, and you can run it in DCC, or you can get a DCC ready, which features our quick plug. It's a plug and play technology with a 21 NEM connector. So you can get it in different versions, whatever works best for you and your layout. And it's, as James said too, they are heavy. They're like a brick, and they pull like crazy. We've had a lot of good comments on that. And again, I think it goes back to myself and the developers are not only just working for Athearn, we're model railroaders too. So we're listening to you guys out there, and we're thinking, you know what, you got a good point. Let's see if we can put that into our next model. And we're just happy to help out wherever we can, and for all of us at Athearn, the best feeling is when we hear those kind of comments from our customers, and we've hit the mark for them. So we're really looking forward to these 50th anniversary P42s.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jim, and we really appreciate it. Tons of great product. So we talked about HO, N scale. There's so much Amtrak product out there. We're going to touch every scales tonight. So let's kick it over to Lionel in O scale, and we're going to kick it over to Ryan. Let's get you somewhere, Ryan. There you are.
Hey, there we go.
All right.
Well, this has been a lot of fun tonight, and I'm keeping a shopping list of my own going here as the night goes on. Before I get in and show a few fun things of our own, I did want to take a second first to thank everybody who helped put this event together, because it has been a lot of fun, and I hope everyone watching is learning some things and getting as excited as all of us are about the announcements that we get out that we're getting out of this tonight. I think it's a pretty cool thing that when you look at the screen here, we've got a whole bunch of us who are all sort of competing in the same niche market space. But I don't know how many industries you would go to where you would see this many of the heads of the companies and the people who know what's going on in the companies getting as geeked out over the competition as we do and having as much fun with this. And to that end, Matt is definitely a diamond in the rough. He's sort of the magical unicorn of the train world because he makes all of our lives so much easier and does such a wonderful service for not just Amtrak and the brand, but for everyone who's a model railroader, helping us get all the details right, from the guidebooks he's put together to just being able to shoot him an email pretty much anytime and get a response. It says something about being a brand ambassador when you decorate the walls of your house with the corporate logo. It also says something about the wife of the brand ambassador when you decorate the walls of your house with the corporate logo. So kudos to that. That's pretty darn cool. So I just wanted to toss that out there and say thank you. Everything that you're going to see from me tonight, Matt and Amtrak have had a hand in terms of making sure it was good to go, and even just from blessing things from the initial concepts. And there are a number of things we've come to them with, and I've said, yeah, Matt, I'm not so sure you want to let me go ahead with this one. The 4316 being one of them last year. And he said, no, absolutely do it. It's important. We got to get things like that out there. So it's great to have that kind of enthusiasm and support within the industry to help us get these things right.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And sometimes I wonder if my mental sanity is in check, but no, I do enjoy it, and I hope that's apparent. And I appreciate all of y'all. I mean, like I said, every single person here obviously is has a day job. You all have families as well, and we're doing this because I think we care. It's not just a job, and I appreciate that support and all the fans that are watching. I think it speaks volumes to what's being done in the hobby. So I'm happy to support that, and I appreciate it. And hopefully, I always wonder sometimes when I send suggestions if you guys are have a dartboard with my face on it, or if it's truly but I do appreciate all the work that you guys do to try and enhance and further develop the hobby.
Thank you. Well, with that, let me get in and show a few things here. Should be seeing my screen there. There we go. So yes, big anniversary year for Amtrak, and we've done a number of product over the last several catalogs to help highlight that. The first we talked about for a long time, like our version of the 4316. This delivered as part of a 2-unit set. The other unit was a patched out locomotive. Very unique set, and then a very popular one amongst the various E8 liveries that we did that time. These delivered earlier this year. So Ken, I'm not sure if you still have any in stock or not, but these are out there if you can find them. Hopefully Ken still has a couple left. Like all of our high-end models, these are limited run and limited numbers. So it's great to grab them while you can because they don't always last. And one of the things we found over the last couple of years is Amtrak has really become one of our premier road names in terms of our business model. It consistently does well for us, and that's a good sign. And I think it speaks not only well to the image and to the market that we cater to, but I think it shows what a good job Amtrak as a passenger railroad has been doing for 50 years in making its name and its presence felt in the U.S. market at large. So
thank you. I'm glad to hear that, and I hope that I think that trend is going to continue as like I said, the age of the hobbyist continues to advance. More and more people don't know anything but Amtrak, so I think that's going to continue.
Absolutely. So also available this year, and Ken is auctioning one of those off tonight, raffling one of those off. So thank you, Ken, is our 50th anniversary boxcar. This one is one of those just completely fanciful paint schemes, but we've done a number of special anniversary railroad heritage cars in our line of products that's printed and assembled here in the U.S. Right here in our North Carolina facility. And we did a neat job on this one. I think this is one of my personal favorites of that series. And Matt was a huge help pulling this one together with a variety of images from their archives that showcase not only some of the trains, but also some of the people in this as well. And that's one of the things I like best about it, coming from a bit of a railroad history background myself. It's always neat when you can tie those stories together and make it something, about more than just the train car. So these are also available now. And Ken, I know you've got at least one of them, so hopefully you still have some of these in stock, and get the rest of them moving off for you too.
I'll tell you, Ryan, that the E8 set was so quick to sell out, so you may be able to find it here and there from another dealer, but it was such a good seller because I don't think that's ever been done in O-scale before, and you guys kind of sneaked it in as a 2-pack, and as soon as they hit the shelves, they were gone. So really nice. You may have to rerun that one again. And the boxcar, we actually, I think my father grabbed the last of them, but really nice boxcar. So really great stuff, Ryan.
Yeah, nice job with that collage too, because I remember when you guys approached us about doing that, and I'm always, it's one of those things where, it sometimes they turn out great, sometimes it just looks like a hodgepodge of stuff, and I really like it from a visual aspect where you have, some old and new motive power, but like you said, the people, because it's really about the people of Amtrak. If it weren't for Amtrak's employees over its 50 years and the people that have believed in keeping it going and making it work, it wouldn't be here today. So I think it turned out great.
Thank you. And next up for delivery this year, later on this year, will be our latest rendition of the Amtrak Acela. We did this in both the current Amtrak Acela scheme, as well as we also did a version in one of the sort of a variation on some of the premieres or the prototype schemes that were shown in advertising from those early days. And that was fun doing research with Matt on that, because we found a number of different images. No two of them were exactly the same. So we took a little bit from A, a little bit from B, and came up with what resulted in a really attractive model for what we thought was the aptly named American Flyer train set. And it was a fun one to do. So both of those will be hitting the rails here towards the end of this year, where we're still doing some of the final tooling tweaks on these to get everything ready, and soon be seeing engineering samples on those. So those are definitely on their way too. Very advanced features in those sets, a full-featured legacy engine with Bluetooth control, command control, the pantographs go up and down. You've got all sorts of lighting options, sound options, interior options in here. It's a great train set, and one of the nicest products I think Lionel has done over our history.
And isn't there, Ryan, on this version of the Acela, there's some enhancement to, is it the tilt mechanism, or I know it seems like there was something I remember reading that is being enhanced for this production. What's that?
Yeah, we made a number of changes in this one, and in sort of a bit of irony, some of the enhancements were actually simplifications. Because the first model of this that we did, about 15 plus years ago, maybe pushing 20 years ago now. It was came out not too long after the Acela's hit the rails. It was an engineering marvel, but there was a lot of stuff crammed in there. There were, if I remember correctly, 4 motors in each passenger car. Not the locomotive. The passenger cars had about 4 motors in them to control the doors and the tilt mechanisms. And so we simplified a lot of that so that the cars will still tilt, but now tilt with the actual motion of the train itself instead of a motor in there that tells the car to tilt when it senses it going into a curve. So lots of things like that way ahead of their time for the technology, and an amazing piece when everything was working flawlessly. But just like on the real thing, the real world model railroad experience when you're running trains around and not just leaving them on the shelf. There's wear and tear on things, and you've got curves, and you've got sometimes track work that's not laid quite as perfectly as it should be. And so our earlier on, the Acelas were always very, very particular about having really solid track work and so forth. So we made some simplifications in this to help get over some of those hiccups. But then also made other changes like powering the second unit, improving the sound system, and a number of other things that we did that enhanced the experience too. So that we corrected the few flaws that we had the first time around to try and deliver a stellar product with even better reliability.
Yeah, and in addition to that as well, besides the would-be fantasy scheme of the American Flyer, which is what the Acela was originally going to look like had Amtrak not rebranded and reimaged. The version that you're doing now, just like as with what Bachmann did, is the current version of the train set where Amtrak originally took delivery, and they said Amtrak in a red Helvetica style font, and they have the new logo. Colors were updated, a lot more accuracy and authenticity. I think you guys even have like the Amtrak Wi-Fi decals on there, and a whole plethora of small details, but the small things is what really sets it apart. And I think this is going to be if you have this next to the original release, just looking at it, it's gonna I think be apparent to someone that it's quite improved before they even hear it or see it roll.
I think so too, Matt. And again, couldn't do it without your help.
A pleasure to a lot of people probably think this is all I do, and honestly, licensing is probably 10% of my role as brand communications manager at Amtrak. A lot of this stuff I end up going home and referencing things and photos here and there in my own time to try and make this work. So I appreciate everyone's efforts on the flip side of actually putting this into actual products and making it worthwhile so a lot of people can enjoy it.
Well, with that, I'll move into our next catalog here. If I can get this slide to advance. There we go. We just released our current catalog about 2 weeks ago, and one of the new items in there will be our first version that we've done now of the Genesis locomotive. The first round of these will be available in 4 paint schemes. This is all new tooling for us and a completely revamped locomotive inside. These will be in the Line Chief, what we call our Line Chief Plus 2.0 line. So this is our mid-range product line. The locomotives themselves are semi-scale. They're not full length. They're a little bit shortened. And as some of you know, O gauge is a scale that's often associated with very tight curves. Almost all modelers make some concessions to curves, but in O gauge, because of the size and the heft of the train, sometimes it's we put big boys through curves that would make a trolley car wince, and so that's what we have here. This line's a little bit smaller, designed for 031 diameter curves, but still has a lot of the features that our larger scale locomotives have. So one of the cool things about our Line Chief 2.0 line is that you can run these with 3 different types of control system. You can use the conventional transformer. You can use TMCC, which is Lionel's command control system for the O gauge world. And then they also have a Bluetooth receiver in them, so you can run these with Bluetooth using either our universal remote or a free app that you can download on the internet and put on your cell phone. And then you get lots of features there, including our newest feature, which is voice control. So you press a button on the phone and you tell the train to go forward, and that will respond, and you can give it different sound commands and a variety of different things, and talk the train through its paces pretty much hands-free, which is a neat new innovation for us here. And again, just the tip of the iceberg of where we'll be going with Bluetooth and control systems over the years to come. These locomotives also have our rail sound system in there, electro couplers, so you can uncouple the train anywhere on the layout with the push of a button. They'll have fan-driven smoke. They'll have all LED lighting, cab light, headlights, backup lights, ditch lights, etc. You get the full 9 yards on that. So a lot of features in a locomotive that is designed for smaller layouts and also more of an entry-level price point. And that's something that Matt has also been, as he mentioned earlier, working with us on and begging us for quite some time now to do a more modern Amtrak starter set. So that may be something you see coming down the road. And as we were putting this together, we knew that the anniversary schemes were coming, so we've been working on that as well. And so I'll sneak this one out here for the first time tonight. It's not often that we do a new product announcement right after a major catalog release.
Wow.
We don't have a date for release on these just yet, because as you've seen already tonight, these locomotives are still rolling out of Beech Grove. So as soon as we can get Matt's approval and he can get the final art so that he can give us the information we're all looking for, you'll see all of the other anniversary paint schemes on these locomotives, and we'll announce that formally in a special announcement sometime later this year, and then deliver these early in 2022. So this is the next of the paint schemes, the Midnight Blue Amtrak 100. This is the preliminary catalog art. Again, there may be a few changes here or there once we get the final art approval, but moving along on that announcement. And then as we get into next year, you can look for more paint schemes, the other heritage units, and various things on this locomotive, as well as we've been getting plenty of requests for it. There will be matching Amfleet passenger cars to match, maybe a nice starter set version, and so much more coming out in both the semi-scale and scale line for Amtrak in 2022. We've got a lot of stuff planned. Matt and I are still working on things, and as good as he is about helping us, he's also very good about keeping his mouth shut. So we appreciate that too, as I'm sure everyone else on the call will attest. We've all got things in the hopper that we're still holding back on. So this is 50-year anniversary, but it is only the beginning, and we look forward to the next several years together and keeping things going.
Wow.
I am not an O-scale guy at all, but if you do an O-scale starter set, I will be first in line to have my pre-order in, because that will be, I think, the perfect train for around a Christmas tree. It's too heavy for a dog or cat to knock off the track type thing, and it is. I think it's a good scale for that type of stuff. I wouldn't dare trust any of my HO things on the carpet. I wouldn't want the little ones to kick into it or anything like that. But I think that would be fantastic. So congratulations, guys, on that upcoming release.
Yeah, wow. And that's some excitement. I mean, Ken? We have tons of products, new announcements. I mean, the hits just keep on coming. Tony, wow.
Wow. Yes, I knew we talk about that new P42, but the catalog just came out. So I thought, well, we're not going to see the 50th, I guess, just yet. So
James, Brian, that's the right time to be a modeler for sure. Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you very much, Ryan, for sharing that. I think everybody in the O-Scale universe is going to find out about it and definitely be pre-ordering shortly as soon as they could find it. So thank you for sharing that, because that's kind of like, that was buttoned up, and this was definitely a big announcement. So awesome. Great job.
Well, it's great to have a forum like this to do things like that. So again, great timing on all of this, and the timing just wasn't quite lining up right to get them in this catalog. The way things were rolling out, even with the advance notice we had, we were sort of trying to watch it, see if it would happen. But we figured it was a great follow up run, and no doubt with all the Amtrak paint schemes as popular as they are, I don't think it does us any harm to have two releases right on top of each other with a locomotive that has been so highly requested.
Well, I think James and Tony have to get bigger into O scale now. So very cool, awesome stuff. And now we're going from O scale, and now we're going to touch on N scale. So we'll go from bigger size to the smaller size, and let's grab Eric from Micro Trains on here. And full disclosure, we thought Eric wasn't going to be able to make it tonight, but he made it through and full charge. So thank you very much, Eric. Do appreciate it. And let me just get your screen up here, and let me know when you want me to share it, if it's okay.
Okay, well, let me just start by saying thank you so very much to all of you for including Microtrains in this 50th anniversary Amtrak forum, this presentation. It's just a delight to be here, and to all of my industry counterparts as well. And Ken, please go ahead and share the screen, if you would. And there's what Microtrains has done in N scale. In fact, it's only just a few weeks ago, July 1st, we took a nod and a tribute and recognition of Amtrak's 50th anniversary with a modernized business car of ours. And side A of the car in the image here is the original livery. And then side B is the phase 6, which is the current livery. And we produced this here at our factory in Southern Oregon, and it's been out to the hobby shops now for a few weeks, and presumably into the hands of the modelers. So congratulations, Matt, and thank you, Matt, and again, thank you all so very, very much. And that's what Microtrains has done in recognition of Amtrak's 50th anniversary.
Well, thank you. It was a really interesting concept, and I hope you've seen good success with it so far. And I think it's a very unique way to pay homage to Amtrak's 50th anniversary, and it's more like I think a collector's piece, honestly. And also, I know Microtrains has done a lot of other neat Amtrak stuff with some of the more obscure things like the maintenance of way, ballast hoppers, and whatnot. So I look forward to seeing more from Microtrains in the future, and I wish you all the success with this car.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you all.
Yeah, and for everybody out there, I mean, you may be in multiple scales or just one scale, but N scale is a size that you could, put on a coffee counter or a table, and it's that perfect size. You could just plug it in.
Yes, you can.
And now, Eric, isn't there a couple, I think, Ken, I've got a picture up of this is a special Microtrains release. Is this out yet, or can you give us some information on this? Is that what, Vermonter? How do you say it?
Vermonter.
I'm not familiar with that, I have to admit.
Oh.
You kind of caught me flat-footed there, but I'll check into that.
I think it may be a 4-pack that Microtrains is offering.
Yeah, there's a pack that has this baggage car with that mural banner on the side, which, Matt, maybe you could. I know there were several of these for other trains, and I kind of always think of them as the Northeast, like the Ethan Allen Express and other things got that.
The Adirondack had a unique baggage car for a while, and this happened in the mid to late 90s. When Amtrak went into strategic business units, and there was more focused in the product line level. So some of the product line managers had creative made for the different baggage cars and the routes that had cars that stayed on those routes. Today, we seem to have more of a almost like a nationwide pool of equipment. So one car could be operating on one route one day, and it'll be on the totally different route another day. But during this era, there was a baggage car for the Vermonter. You see the special art there. It was unique to that train, and it stayed on the Vermonter for the most part. And it was always a interesting thing for fans when they would venture out across the system. And I believe it was this exact baggage car had it made its way out west. It might have been the Empire Builder, the California Zephyr, I forget, but a photo was taken of it, and it actually became the calendar photo for that year for Amtrak's annual calendar. And I I forget if it was photoshopped out to make it look like a standard livery or not, but I remember it was one of those wild catches out of the blue where something had made its way from its normal route out to the rest of the system. But yeah, that'll be a pretty cool release when it comes out as well.
I think it's Eric. I think I saw September, and it might actually be Z. Ken, we're getting even smaller.
Okay, yes, it
There
is
you
Z
go.
scale.
It's a
Okay.
Z scale set of 4 cars with that special baggage. So
Yeah, I am familiar with that. I was kind of thrown thinking N scale. So
I said the wrong scale. I apologize, but yeah, I
No
think
sweat,
that's a
no
really
problem.
interesting collector's item.
Yeah, Z is a very interesting. It's so tiny, but the detail is still, I think, pretty amazing for that size. I mean, N scale has really come a long way. And then when I've seen some of these N or Z scale models, it's really surprising that a lot of these things, not only just with the paint, but that they've got motors in them that actually work and go. It's wild. I can't even hardly see the couplers on these things. I guess I'm getting old. I don't know.
even DCC and Z.
Right. It's absolutely amazing. It's cool.
Very
you.
cool.
Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thank you so much, Eric. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure people on their N scale layouts are going to start adding it, the Amtrak stuff, and also the Z scale was a nice surprise. Quite honestly, I missed that too. So that's on me. So apologize on that. But we're going to continue the N scale line. And well, now you got a car in N scale, and now you're probably going to need something to pull it with. So we're going to throw on Kato, and we got Alex. Just give me a second and try to find you, Alex. All right. How you doing, Alex?
Good, Ken. How you doing?
All right.
So yeah, so again, I think I kind of harp on what everybody else said before. Thank you very much for having us on. I think it's a pretty cool event. We've done many of these, Ken, you and I, and we've done things similar. I think this is a unique experience to have Matt with Amtrak with us to kind of build a foundation for what a lot of our products are. At Kato, Amtrak is one of the signature brands that we offer in both N and HO scale. I mean, it's always a consistent seller. It's one of those products that we're proud to have, and people are proud to have whenever our customers receive the product. So we're very happy to do this, and thank you again for having us on and letting us showcase products. I have a PowerPoint presentation here. What I'm going to kind of go through, I have 4 different products that are going to be releasing soon that I want to display with you guys and show you. And then I have a couple, I guess, like teaser announcements that I want to show you guys kind of for the first time. These aren't products that we are going to officially announce just yet because they are still kind of in the works. But, just kind of gives you a little bit of a teaser. So I'm going to share my screen here. I really hope this works. I apologize. I didn't have time to practice with this, so I really hope this comes up. Are you guys able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So there's my lovely title card. So we are going to move on first. So as many people know, in N scale, we're going to be releasing the Amtrak P42 50th anniversary paint scheme. It seems like this seems to be a pretty common thing on this chat here that we're having, but this was announced months ago. We have since sold out of this product at Kato USA, but many of our distributors and wholesalers should have them. This is a final production sample. As you can see, it looks pretty good. In this sample, it's missing the number boards and the light, glass there. But this is going to be available from what it looks like right now in November of this year. I'm going to play a nice loop of this going by because I wanted to be nice and showy. This locomotive is going to have, again, the golden white LED headlights. It's going to have illuminated pre-printed number boards, which will be on there. It does have a 5-pole motor, all-wheel electrical pickup, and will be DCC friendly. These will be available with pre-installed Digitrax DCC and ESU Low Sound. We should be getting decoders from ESU hopefully soon for our model, so hopefully we'll be able to get that out whenever this becomes available. Again, as I said, the base model, the DC model, will be available in November, and the DCC and sound versions will be available and installed the following month in December. These sold out very quickly, as I said. We completely sold out of them during the pre-order period. They're very popular. I wonder why. But we are very happy that this is in our lineup, and we're looking forward to customers getting these into their hands here. I just have one slide on this. Within the next month, it should have been here a little earlier, but with the container delays, it is what it is. In N-Scale, we are re-releasing the Viewliner 2 baggage car. These were very popular when they were released. We had a lot of excitement when they came out, and these actually sold pretty quickly. So we are doing new numbers of these. These are going to be released in August. Still the same design. Little sample here. Looks great with the separately applied vents and the diaphragms. Looks really great. Looking forward to having this coming out in the next month or two. Switching just a little bit to HO scale, we do have, again, like I said, Amtrak, especially for HO scale 2, is a pretty consistent seller. So we're looking forward to restocking these again. We do get a lot of requests for our Amtrak Superliners to be back in stock. So we are restocking the coach, the lounge, and sleeper. These are going to have all new numbers. And they're actually due in our warehouse tomorrow. Our container is supposed to show up tomorrow. So we're looking forward to getting these shipped out. So they should be available for customers sometime next week. The coach and the sleeper are going to be available with interior lighting. Those will be available in August. For those that ordered it, or those that have not yet, you should still be able to. And again, these should be available tomorrow, actually. So we'll be shipping them out this week and the beginning of next week. So on to the really exciting, or the more, I guess, exciting topics. I've been getting so many requests, so many emails, Facebook messages, you name it, about our HL Scale Viewliner 2 baggage cars. We do have an official announcement coming out next month. This is going to give the pricing. This is going to give a little bit more detail about the release. As of now, we're looking at in August 2021, or no, that's when it's going to be announced, August 2021. It's going to be available in early 2022. So we're not exactly sure on the month yet. We will display that on the announcement coming next month. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to show you here. Some of you have seen this for those that follow us on Facebook, and some of us that have obviously followed us on Twitter too, Instagram, but also those that have watched some of our other past live streams. I believe it was with you, Ken. We did this too. I don't know. But I showed some of the 3D renderings of this HO Scale Viewliner 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you at least some of the features that are on this model that people may or may not know about. So we can kind of go through and see what exactly are some of the neat and unique features that are going to be available on the set. So I'm going to kind of go through each one. As with the N-Scale model, they're going to have separately applied vents. We are going to have a tubular style diaphragm, which is on the prototype. We do have the door frame and collision post that is on here. We have separately applied handrails that are going to be here, as well as on the baggage car doors. The doors are also going to be separately applied. They don't open, unfortunately, but you can take them out if you so wish. We do have separately applied steps going on here, Cotto knuckle couplers, prototypical trucks, as on the Viewliner 2s. The marker lights on here are actually are able to be illuminated. You do need the light board. I listed the part number on here. You can find it on our parts store. But this will basically allow you to illuminate the number boards, and it'll be directional. You can have it that way. So these are some of the features that are going to be on our model. We've had a lot of requests as to specifics in terms of what's going to be separately applied, what's going to be molded on, what's it going to look like, when's the release date. So finally, this month and tonight, all the HO modelers finally do get at least a little bit of some answers coming up. Hopefully within the next few months, we'll be able to show you some pre-production samples. We don't have any just yet. Hopefully we'll be able to get those out quickly. But at least now you'll get the general idea of what is going to be featured on this model, what's going to be separately applied, and how the general concept of it is going to work. And again, this has been very exciting. We've gotten many requests for us to make this product. So we're looking forward to it. We're hoping pre-orders will be well. So stay tuned, because now you should be able to pre-order it coming in August.
Alex, that's fantastic. I would like to, when you said, you made a couple points earlier. In my time at Amtrak of, managing the licensing program, Kato has done so much Amtrak. It is absolutely outstanding. And no matter what era of Amtrak you model, I think whether it's 70s, 80s, 90s, today, Kato has been pumping out Amtrak left and right in N scale for sure. And I imagine the Viewliner 2 baggage car is going to be very popular for you. We've had those cars now for a handful of years. And the last of that order, the sleepers, I'm sure you get a lot of requests for the other versions, like the Diner, the BD, and the sleepers as well. But hopefully, if these are a grand slam for you, we'll see other versions as well, because sooner or later you will need to do that in order to model any Amtrak. It will be, obviously Superliners are very synonymous with Amtrak, but Viewliners are quickly becoming very much the norm. Definitely anything east of the Mississippi, but also for anyone needing a baggage car to model Superliner trains, you got to have one of those. And N-scale's been covered for a while, but not HO. So I think this is a huge void in the modern day Amtrak catalog that's being filled by Kato. So I wish you luck with it.
That's awesome news. And now, Alex, I assume, and Matt, can you tell us, I assume this is going to be phase 3. I think you had a picture a couple back. In fact, it might have been Matt's picture. I saw his name. Matt, these are all in, I'm saying phase 3 paint, which I think you told me one time is 888 because they're each 8-inch stripes. But how come they're not in like that phase 6 paint? How'd they get this paint?
It's a great question. So the phase 3 happens to be one of my favorite Amtrak livery. It's on the wall behind me. But that was a decision. Honestly, the Viewliner order, when those specs were put in place, I think it was, it was a long time ago. I was in product development for Amtrak, so it was at least 10 years ago. And at that time, our CEO, Joseph Boardman, was a huge fan of the retro stuff we did for the 40th anniversary around 2011. So that'd be about 10 years ago. And he wanted to see that make a comeback. And that's why these cars were ordered with phase 3. Ultimately, in the branding realm of Amtrak, with phases 3, 5, and 6 being out there, it's not the consistent image we want to see for, now that all these cars are coming out there, they're mixed and matched, and you've got a mixed identity. We will be working toward phase 7 for all of what I call the legacy fleet. So Viewliner, Superliner, and all that to match with the new Chargers that are coming and whatever P42s remain on the fleet. The plan is to have phase 7 be the one consistent livery to carry Amtrak well into the future. But it's all being designed now. It's all in the works on the 1-to-1 scale, and it'll be a while before I'm sure it'll make its way to the model world. But that'll be the next level of transition and evolution for Amtrak's paint.
Yeah, and Alex, just real quick, we got a question on the amount of road numbers that you guys are going to be putting out. Is it going to be one number?
As of now, again, you have to wait for the announcement. Right now, we're looking at potentially 2 road numbers to start with for now for the HO scale model. Yeah.
Cool. Everybody started requesting 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6. So
we try to just do one at a time. But so typically whenever we do releases of products, we usually try to do a pair, so people have something to run, in conjunction with it, whether it's 2 locomotives or 2 cars, unless it's a set. We try to do a pair of them together. So in this particular case, we're looking to have 2 road numbers. So modelers should have the capability to have a couple cars on there. Because as we know in Amtrak, there could be a baggage car front, there could be a baggage car in the rear. You never know. So looking forward to have as many baggage cars as you need.
Yeah, some trains you might have it on the front and the rear. The Lakeshore Limited ran for a long time with a baggage car for both the Boston section and the New York section. It's a combined train from Chicago to Albany. And then at Albany, that train splits into two. You have typically the front half of the train continues on to Boston as a separate train, and then the rear half of the train continues on to New York City. And it used to operate with 2 baggage cars, and maybe one day when ridership picks back up to pre-COVID levels, it'll go back to that. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to model trains. Like I said, if you're being extremely prototypical, or if you just wanted to even model one of the super trains of when the cars were delivered. I know there was some great coverage of on YouTube and photos of trains with maybe like 10 baggage cars coming from the factory for delivery. So that's another option too. More road numbers, the better, I say.
You brushed real quick, Matt, on the lakeshore and stuff, because I'm from Youngstown. That's usually the train that I take to go home whenever I take Amtrak, or the Capital Limited, which is on my bucket list for you, is to get service back to Youngstown when on the old Broadway Limited. Doubt it'll happen because I think they tore up the tracks, and I think the station's now a restaurant. But, just something for the future.
I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, go ahead. Your massive list.
And make sure you get your pre-orders in for that engine that you displayed, Alex, because those are going to be hot. That's going to be a really hot seller. Never been done before for N scale, so that's going to be really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, we anticipate this for the amount of requests that we have. We anticipate this to sell out just very, very quickly. So we do anticipate fast orders. So yeah, Ken, as you said, modelers definitely want to put in the orders early for it. You don't want to wait till the last minute. Otherwise, they could potentially be gone. Just like the P42s I mentioned earlier, they were sold out in the pre-orders at N scale. We had a lot of requests afterwards for people that wanted it. And unfortunately, we couldn't sell them any, but hopefully hobby shops, much like Train World and others, ordered enough to supply that demand.
Awesome.
So I'm going to reshare my screen. There we go. So anyway, so that was just a quick little brush up on some of the details that are going to be part of the new HO V-Line 2 baggage car. We'll have similar details on the announcement coming up next month. So be on the lookout for that. Again, make sure you put in your pre-orders for it. We do anticipate this to be coming in hot. So we look forward to that. Now, I do have 2 more pre-announcements, I guess you can say. These are items that we don't have. We're not officially announcing, throwing a SKU number on it and a price, but these are items that we are looking to do going into the future, that we're basically in the design working forward to do, to hopefully come out within the next year. So the first thing, if this is any surprise to anybody, we're going to be doing N scale and HO scale P42 models of the all the versions of the anniversary units. And Matt, I think you mentioned earlier that the Cola paint scheme is not quite ready yet, but when it is, obviously that'll be ready. But these are going to be available at some point. We're hoping next year, the following year, 2022, in both scales and in HO. In N scale, our P42s are just amazingly popular. Even just whenever we do the regular phase 5s or any paint scheme that we do, the P42s go pretty quickly. So with all these paint schemes coming up, we anticipate similar sales as well. So we do think these will go pretty quickly. We're in the developmental stages of these. So again, there's no official announcement yet, but just to get it out there, we are actually planning on doing N scale and HO scale versions of these models. And
This is awesome because now N, HO, and O are covered. You've heard it here on this broadcast with the 50th anniversary models, and hats off, guys. This is awesome. I mean, this is like a dream come true for us. At Amtrak, we did these locomotives for our 50th, and then to have you guys as our licensees be so quick to jump on this, to have the trust that these are going to do well for your businesses as well. That speaks volumes to the popularity of what these represent. So thank you. This is really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank Amtrak too. I mean, you guys, make it fun by having these cool liveries come out for everybody to not only enjoy in models, but you go across the railroad tracks, you happen to be lucky enough to see one of these go across, and you think, wow, that's pretty cool. You can see the unique paint scheme on. It's not just another Amtrak P42 rolling by. So no, thank you for you guys for drawing up a lot of excitement for these too. It's exciting for me because I model some N scale and some O gauge, but this is cool for me too.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, the 50th is a big thing, and I got to give credit to all all my colleagues and my leadership and everybody involved. And we made a splash with it. I mean, how do you? People ask me, how are we going to beat the 40th? We did, the phase 1, 2, 3, and 4 heritage units, and it's like, well, here we go. Now we've got 6, heritage locomotives, or not heritage, but commemorative locomotives. Some of them, all new. Some of them, historic, and I think we met that goal. So I'm loving it. This is great.
Yeah, well said on both parties, Alex and Matt. It truly is a great time to be a modeler, and we have Amtrak to thank for it. By creating these special paint schemes to celebrate the 50th anniversary, and then on top of that, you have all these great model train manufacturers just pumping out the product, and it really is a chance on when you make any kind of train to not know the numbers or how much you're going to sell. So these manufacturers are taking bets, and just by the response tonight, it's overwhelming. Everybody, their jaws are just to the floor, and their wallets are being opened tonight. I mean, they want all this product, and Matt and his team at Amtrak just did a really nice job on all these paint schemes. I mean, just really beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. And, I'm glad you guys are coming out with these, and obviously our modelers are too. So looking forward to having these in our lineup. And last but not least, we are going to be also in development of manufacturing the long distance NNHO scale Amtrak Siemens Chargers version.
Woo! I mean, and there you go. Here we are, HO and N with a locomotive that's not even in revenue service yet for Amtrak. I mean, this is destined to replace the P42s, just as the P42 replaced the F40. This is awesome. I'm stoked.
Wow. Matt, you're going to be the noob hype man. You replaced me with excitement.
Not about that. But.
What can I say, man? I mean, cool. I'm just calling it what it is. Like, I remember when the Genesis was brand new, right? So basically, the predecessor to this locomotive here, it was years before Athearn came out with it as the blue box model, compared to when the P40 rolled out in 92. It was several years. Here it is being announced before the real thing's even in revenue service. This is awesome. It's truly never been a better time to be an Amtrak modeler.
That's awesome, Matt.
Yeah, wow. and also, Matt, hats off to you too. I mean, this paint scheme is very American too. You look at it, it has that nice American flag like type look to it with the red, white, and blue. It also kind of goes kind of with that phase 1 scheme with the arrow a little bit. So, kudos to Amtrak for really brightening up this paint scheme a little bit.
Well, it looks awesome. And Matt, this is what actually phase 6?
This is 6. Yeah. Yes, this is 6. And I could probably do a whole nother presentation just on how we came up with this and why and all that. But I know we're way over, and I want to give everyone a chance to go. But yeah, this is 6. And 6 will be appearing on units up to number, I believe it's 308, and starting at 309 onward will be phase 7, which will be the next standard. That'll be the standard for hopefully everything going forward after that. But yeah, so these will be unique and new, but they will be getting a little bit of a tweak going forward as well.
Yeah, Alex, I don't know how you kept this a secret for all this long. I mean, you're announcing a lot of big announcements today. Oh my God!
Okay. Here's the thing, Ken. Here's the thing, and now I'm not happy. I talked to Alex and I talked to Michael Conway about a week ago, and I said, "Okay, this is neat. This is neat. You guys got anything coming in HO?" No. And then look at this a week later. Oh my gosh!
Nothing at all, Tony.
You're holding out on me.
Nothing.
That's amazing, Alex. That's great stuff.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, we're excited. I mean, again, like I mentioned before, Amtrak has always been a consistent seller for us, and this is a no-brainer for us to have in our lineup. As it seems like every manufacturer seems to recognize. I mean, modelers see this every day in some occasions, and some just love the paint schemes. But we're very happy to have this in our lineup, and we're looking to have these released. And again, once phase 7 comes out of these and we have these in our lineup, we're looking forward to having that too.
I hope Junpei is watching.
He's not here. He had to go to the dentist. Otherwise, I'd have him like right now come behind us. So He owes you that for the next time.
There you go. And James, what do you think about all these announcements?
Well, it's going to be a battle royale between Bachman and Cato on these Siemens Chargers. So I can't wait to compare the two models.
We have a great competition, friendly competition.
Yeah.
But we're happy that everybody's coming out with these models, and no matter which ones you buy, whether it's ours or it's Bachman's, they're both going to be really great.
Yeah, it's just fun to compare and see the differences. Every time I've done a locomotive comparison, there's been strong points on one, strong points on the other, and it's just great to see diversity. Because you're going to have folks that prefer certain decoders, prefer certain drives. And some folks are brand loyalists as well that want certain brands, and they're just not going to buy it in any other brand. So it's pretty neat to see just the diversification of the hobby, and in a friendly manner, like some folks have mentioned earlier, that it's not you'd never see Verizon and AT&T talking on a conference call together, and getting along as well as a lot of these manufacturers get along in the hobby. So it's just refreshing to see, and it's going to be a great day for Amtrak modelers. Lots of broke people tonight, I bet you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you very much. That's all I have for you guys tonight. So thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it, and good luck with the rest of the show tonight.
Alex, I love the candor and love how you say, nonchalantly. That's all I have for you tonight.
Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, thank you very much. Huge announcements. Really appreciate it. Wow. Every time one manufacturer ends the call, I'm like, how could this get even better? It's just one after another.
Well,
and
LGB didn't go yet, so we're probably about to have our minds blown.
I know. So we got Gail and Stacy coming up. They've been patiently waiting. So thank you again, Alex. And let me pop them on.
Ken,
Yes.
before we go to that last one, have we told? Yeah. I know early on you said about what to put in the thing. You're giving away the 50th boxcar for anybody that joined us late, because we said that real early on. So to get into that, you're giving away what, a Lionel boxcar?
Yes.
Bachman's going to give away one of the 301 first day Chargers. And then, Ken, I think you said you were spending some of your dad's or your uncle's money to buy a T-shirt off the Amtrak site. So what do people watching need to type in? Is that what their name or?
Yeah. So I think I gave 3 different codes for each one. So just bear with me as I remember. I think the Amtrak Lionel boxcar, this code was I love Amtrak. Put in the zip code. For the Amtrak T-shirt. And I will order it for you. We'll pick out a size. It was Amtrak swag.
Yeah,
and you got Matt and I actually randomly picked out the same shirt. So that's Amtrak swag, and put your zip code and state. And then the last one, Larry was a huge surprise and just threw it out there. The 301. And I think we said Larry's the man, and put in the zip code, or Bachman and put in the zip code, and that will be for the engine raffle for 301. Huge announcement. So a lot of surprises tonight. I feel like this is I don't know, like a sporting event or something. Just wild.
It's a happening, that's for sure.
And if you guys don't mind, I'd like to reach into the deep coffers of my YouTube channel and provide for a young kid one of the P42 Superliner starter sets from Amtrak's store. So you guys can come up with, something, I don't know, so I'll throw that in the mix as well.
Wow, thank you, James.
Yep. That's awesome, James. So put it in the chat. Type in JLWII2000. That's his YouTube channel. And it's going for a family and to get kids into the hobby. So put that JLWII2000 with the zip code so we know how to reach you. And that's really nice and kind of you, James. We really appreciate that.
Let's see if they can spell it right.
All right. Awesome. Very cool. And I guess without further ado, because a lot of activity tonight, a lot of action, and that's awesome. Very kind of you, James. We're going to have Gail and Stacy, and we saved the largest scale, but not the last scale, on for last. But the best and G scale, LGB. How you doing, Gail and Stacy?
Good, Ken. Thanks.
Hey, just want to say thanks for having us again. It's been an honor sitting and listening to these people talk. I really wish that I could to match up to some of the models that these guys are coming out with, but we're not going to be that exciting tonight. So we're definitely the biggest, and we're really glad to be here. And I also want to repeat what Ryan said. Working with Matt has been it's a pleasure. I wish all the train groups we work with were half as helpful as Matt is.
Thank you, Gail.
It's a nice pleasure.
I was gonna say, don't sell yourself short. I think you guys have the only trains that can also operate outdoors in all sorts of weather. So that's pretty cool too.
Just like Amtrak, we're outside. So
there you go.
It's been a pleasure listening to everybody come out with these great models, and I look forward to seeing some more. Stacy's going to talk about what we have.
Well, everybody talked about the future, but we're keeping it old school. LGB is introducing their Amtrak as the first unified paint scheme. When, like Matt said, it was a hodgepodge of cars, and Gail's trying to share his screen.
We're going to share. Can you see that okay?
Yep, just came up.
So, like I said, LGB is the paint scheme we chose was the first unified paint scheme that LGB had for it, or Amtrak had for its passenger train. It's the Amtrak train number 1, the Sunset Limited that went from New Orleans to Louisiana. So the trains will be equipped with the MFX DCC decoder with many sound and light functions. And what's really neat about the sound function is it is authentic to the Sunset Limited. So the announcements will be from New Orleans to Louisiana. So that's a really neat option. To go along with the F7 ABA units, we have 6 Streamliner cars, 2 passenger cars, each with a different road number, a baggage car, a Vista Dome car, the dining car, and the observation car at the end with the lighted drum head.
I love the drum head.
Yeah, isn't it pretty? And then we also have a fantasy. Oh, there's an authentic picture. And then we'll have this is a fantasy diesel locomotive in the same unified paint scheme. This is a little switcher. And to pay homage to the 50th anniversary, the road number is 1971. So that was something fun. And then to throw something unique into the F7 ABA passenger train, you can throw in a material car. This is from the 80s, not the 70s, but it still can add something unique to your LGB train.
And that little switcher, if you see it on there, it's the first time we have DCC with it. So the sounds are really, we just got to hear some of them the other day. It's going to be fun. The problem is, like with everybody in this day and age right now, shipping. So the little diesel switcher will be here first, soon, hopefully. The material car is here now, so we can.
Sitting right behind us. But the rest of the Amtrak will start to be delivered in fall.
Great. I'm looking for that streamlined set is it looks really nice, and it's a nice representation of that early era of Amtrak that I I don't remember. I wasn't around for it, but it is cool that that lives on through models, and it's nice to have it with the B units as well, and it's all matched. Even though it was back then, unfortunately, more the exception rather than the rule that the entire train matched. It's nice to see that, and my OCD tendencies to have a matched consist were very satisfied looking at that photo you had of it, lined up with the entire consist, and the road numbers you chose as well are rather accurate too, because Amtrak had a bunch of E units, but only a handful of F units, and they were numbered in the low 100 series. So hats off to you guys for the little bit of added realism.
Yeah, and Gail and Stacy, just a really nice rounded up lineup. And a lot of people are talking about that switcher, even though it is a fantasy. People really like the uniqueness, and it's going to be at an affordable price point. And for the people that don't know LGB, which everybody should know LGB is G scale, and you could not only put it inside the house, but you could also put it outside for garden railway, and you could get your Amtrak train to kind of represent and kind of just all through your backyard. And right now it's summertime, so it would be a great hobby to go outside and put your Amtrak trains in the backyard. And especially right now with COVID and everything going on in the world, that it presents a hobby that you could go outside. You could either be with your close ones, relatives, and you could have a nice hobby and really just run them around the track. And that's the great part about G-scale trains. I mean, it's something unique, different than the other scales, because you have that option to go indoor and outdoor. And your trains the quality is there. Everybody knows your brand, your reputation. So to join up and sync up with Amtrak to provide these great licensed product, I think is just tremendous. So really great work.
Thank you.
We appreciate all the nice comments. It was good. Matt, Amtrak train running around an outdoor Christmas tree.
There you go. I don't know if you're aware, Gail, but for many years, I'm not sure in recent years, especially since the pandemic, but Amtrak sponsored the national Christmas tree in Washington D.C. and had an LGB P42. I think it was a double header with Amfleet cars for many years, and hopefully that's still ongoing. I haven't been down to check it out, but I remember seeing that a couple times. So you guys had some prime representation there with the LGB going around the Christmas tree.
Yeah, history. Well, Ken, we'll let you set that one up for us.
Yes, without a doubt. And actually, I think James was actually talking about maybe going a little outdoor railway action too.
Yeah, I'm slowly getting into G scale. I mean, mostly 132nd or 132 with MTH, but a lot of LGB stuff has caught my eye, and I've got to pace myself because I have an entire HO scale layout to build starting here in about 2 weeks. So.
Well, maybe we could get you that Amtrak switcher. And Tony, are you into G scale?
I collect everything, so yeah. But actually, I've got a father and son team over in the St. Louis area that they actually work in. There's a St. Louis club that operates and shows trains, and they review my G scale things. So yeah, this set we're lining up the Amtrak F units and a couple of the passenger cars for Justin, and his son Jax is like 8 or 9 years old, and they review all our G scale stuff. But I've got a shelf of G scale too. And as Matt said, I've got a picture there. Did I hit the right button to share it? That Amtrak did have F units. That I think that's something. There were a lot of models initially, and you don't think of it. You think of bigger power like the E units and such. But yeah, the LGB. Is very much, they had F7s and FP7s, and were numbered and painted just like this. And most of them came from like Southern Pacific and Santa Fe. So it's an awesome model. And then the smooth side passenger cars that LGB is doing. Gail, are the cars available separately? How are I know what the F units, there's an A, a B, and another A, and I think one of them has like sound. What's the what's powered, what's not powered in the diesels, and then are all the passenger cars separate sale?
The passenger cars are all separate. The A units are powered. The B units not powered.
But it has a speaker.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, yeah, so it will mate up with the powered A unit and will help provide sound. What an awesome thing to have in the backyard, Ken. I mean, how about that? Flipping burgers on the grill and, sitting around in lawn chairs with a Amtrak Sunset Limited rolling by in G scale. I need a bigger backyard now.
That's it, Tony. Actually, I was thinking you have so much stuff inside the house that you're going to have to go into G scale to get it outside the house.
Exactly. That's the only place I got expansion room. The dog and I will start deciding who gets the front yard. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, that's great product. Thank you so much, Gail and Stacy. Really appreciate you being on tonight. And also that Amtrak boxcar in the back. I'm not sure if you spoke about it, but I think you still have some in stock as well.
We do.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's a pretty cool car. You could throw on the layout and
opening doors. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Nice stuff.
We'll get on Matt's shelf with his matching wall.
And that, if you're not familiar with G, you saw Gail holding that boxcar. There, I think all models, all the replicas are impressive, but Ken, isn't there something about G that is just, it's eye-popping, I mean, especially if you're into HOON, you see G scale and it's like, wow. So that's awesome stuff.
Without a doubt. So we had so many manufacturers on, so much product. Let's have, I guess, James and Tony, since you guys are kind of like the specialists for model train industry, and Matt, if you want to go over maybe a rundown of, I mean, it's just so much product, but just some final thoughts.
Sure. Yeah. Again, thanks, Matt Donnelly of Amtrak Brand Communications. I as part of my duties, I handle the licensing of the Amtrak brand, and I work closely with all the major manufacturers. And this episode here, I think it was a great forum to be able to get together to showcase so many new announcements. I think the standouts are just the wide variety of scales, everything from Z, like really teeny tiny up to G. We've got Amtrak stuff coming out in the future, but specifically what blows my mind is the ALC 42 locomotive, which will be Amtrak's new, the new face of Amtrak. It's going to end up replacing the P42, announced in HO and N before the real locomotives even in revenue service, which is, I think it's unheard of to me. I think it's unprecedented, with most things in the industry. You guys probably know better, but at least with Amtrak models for sure. And then so many of the 50th anniversary P42s, we've got a lot of interest in the prototypes, which are rolling out of Beech Grove. And now you've got them in NHO and announced an O scale as well on here. I think people are super excited. I was watching the comments of people, their wallets are screaming and running to go hide. But I mean, that's a good thing in a way. Hopefully they'll have enough time to start saving up now that they've got the expectations. So thank you everybody for bringing all this, extending the Amtrak brand to the world of model trains, because we couldn't do it without you.
That's great.
James, I know you just did an Amtrak video just recently, I think on the P42. So I know everyone's pretty familiar with your channel, but that's a great place to get to see the thing start up and get into action is your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I cover product reviews for those of you that don't know for HO scale products primarily, but I'm just a lover of trains. So I've been all over N scale, G scale, even dabbled into O and have done some O scale reviews and have some O scale sets. But what I really think about in this case mostly is my time about 22 years ago or 23 years ago as a 15-year-old riding Amtrak, a superliner from Chicago all the way to California, and getting to do that with my grandparents and enjoy the ride. I made a little girlfriend on the ride at the time, and you just spend so much time on the train that you end up getting to know people for days and days, especially for people that are going on those long haul trains across country. So you think about somebody that's a little kid or even a teenager, and what a better ambassador for either being a rail enthusiast or a modeler than to ride on Amtrak and be on the cars, going through the consists, having breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the dining car, and just enjoying just a ride, almost like it's going back in time. You know, these days we're so caught up on our phones and everything, and a lot of times these trains are whizzing through towns and you don't have a signal, so you have no choice but to talk next to somebody, even though they're getting their, you know, the communications are a lot better now than they were in the 90s when I was riding on the train. But it's just an amazing thing to be able to have that connection, either rail fan riding on the train or a modeler riding on the train. And some people are spurred out of that from that train ride. So it's pretty interesting. It's very neat. And Amtrak has a rich history, and it's great to see that kind of years later, being able to speak with Matt here and being able to see all these great models. And then from a modeler perspective, just the speed that Matt had mentioned earlier, how fast these models are coming out. You occasionally saw it in brass, where sometimes brass would be a little quicker than plastic back in the early 2000s or late 90s. Now, you know, something's on the rails and it's being developed, and it's just a great time for modelers to be able to just capture that excitement so quickly and have that on their model railroads in a short period of time. So thanks to all of you guys. Matt, one other thing I wanted to say is it's amazing to have a company work with these manufacturers closely, because I'm sure all the experience here with the manufacturers, they can say or cite instances where with other railroads that may not have been the case. You know, they may not even have a contact for a railroad. So being able to be in contact with these manufacturers is allowing us modelers to have a lot of these items. So thanks all around to all you guys. It's awesome to see this level of camaraderie and people working together to get these models out.
Well, thank you, James. And it's like, it truly is. It's a way for Amtrak to extend its brand beyond what our mission is. I mean, our primary business is moving people from point A to B over the tracks, you know. And thank you, as well as Ken and Bachman and everyone else who's providing Amtrak giveaways to the viewers. That was a nice added surprise, and I hope we can do it again in the future.
That's awesome. And Tony, I see you want to share something as well.
I got, you know, we've talked his Amtrak store that Matt oversees, but when we were doing this, they bought ads for the 50th anniversary in a number of the White River Productions magazines. You know, I do Model Railroad News and HO Collector and Diesel Era now, and I laid this ad out in probably 2 or 3 magazines as I was working that month. And every time I saw this little kid, I thought, I'd buy him any Amtrak stuff he wants. Look at that kid. And here's the address. It's store.amtrak.com. And if you want to catch up on news and things, modelrailroadnews.com is the monthly hobby magazine that I do. But now, and I think, Matt, you said you got a sale coming up, $10 off $50 goes this August sometime?
Yeah, in mid-August, I believe it was. I don't have it in front of me anymore. August, I think it was 15th through the 17th. But well, the thing to do, we do run specials every now and again on the Amtrak store, which is run by Staples Promotional Products. If you go to the website and when you create an account, there's that little checkbox about signing up for email notifications. We don't sell your email, so you won't get spammed by a million other companies. And we only send out a handful throughout a year about Amtrak sales or new products when we come out with new items. And that's the best way to get notified of whenever we're doing a sale or have new stuff coming out. So please do check out the website. And if you see something you like, pick it up either for yourself or as a gift for somebody else. We'd really appreciate it.
So awesome. What do you think, Ken? Was the show pretty cool? We've been looking forward to this most of the summer. I think we started talking about this show in April or May, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. So wow.
I tell you, you're going to have a lot of things to write up in Model Railroad News. Tony will not be accessible in the future because he's got a lot of writing to do. I tell you, this show was excellent, and I really appreciate all the manufacturers being able to participate and hanging in there. I know it was a long event, and I'll get to you, Stacy, before we go. But I do want to say the thing that amazed me about most tonight was the passion and enthusiasm from Matt from Amtrak. It was none that I've never seen before. And especially to, kind of this event has never really been done before in the train industry. To have Matt, who's never kind of been on a live event with us before, kind of just jump in and fit like a glove. I mean, it was excellent, and the synergy between him and the manufacturers. I mean, there's a long relationship with him and the manufacturers that it was nice to really see him participate and talk with the manufacturers that were on air and kind of see that relationship and see how strong it is, the partnership between Amtrak, the actual train company, and the manufacturers, and really see how it comes together. So I thought that was really nice to see, and just I don't know, I thought it was excellent. Really
well, thanks,
excited.
Ken. I mean, I think I can sum it up pretty easily. 50 years is a huge milestone, and I was so lucky to talk to the seventh employee of Amtrak, Ralph Dollinger, who helped, start Amtrak. And because I always figured, what would it be like? Someone who helped create this stuff back at the beginning. And like I said, he described it as chaotic. It was just this daunting task of creating something that nobody else wanted to do anymore, passenger trains. And 50 years later, here we are. We've got new trains on order. We're expanding. It's a really bright future for us, and to have so many other companies, model trains included, be a part of this in expansion, and all our fans and customers alike. Yeah, man, 50 years strong. Here's to 50 more. Thank you, everybody.
Excellent.
That's great. And we'll let the other manufacturers also get a last comment. And Stacy, I know you raising your hand.
I just want LGB is going to jump on the giveaway bandwagon, and we're going to give away this materials handling car.
Whoa!
Wow!
All right.
Wow.
So let's put in the chat LGB G scale. Rocks. and put in your zip code, and we'll pick out a winner tonight. I mean, this is like a rock concert, Matt. I hope you enjoy this, because the giveaways keep on coming. This is total excitement. So thank you so much, Gail and Stacy. So put in LGB G scale rocks, and put in your zip code so we know where you are, and we could ship it to you, and we'll contact you. So that's great.
It is. It's like Amtrak for everybody. Here's an Amtrak. Great. Thank you, guys.
And I will say thank you for everyone who donated on the raffle. We really appreciate it, because I think the more Matt enjoys this, and the more he has a good time, and all the people out there, type it in the chat, thank you, Amtrak. The more he has a good time, the more he's going to want to come back to do more events for the model train industry. So thank you very much, Stacy and Gail. We appreciate that. And a lot of people put it in the chat for that boxcar Amtrak, so that's great.
Good.
All right. And Lionel, Athern, Bachman, thank you guys for participating.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Tony, Matt, James, everybody. Good to see you all again. And until we get to see each other again in person or back on Train World TV here, in my case, but not a few more days, right? Right, Ken? We're going to do another 3-hour catalog show?
Another catalog show, back in action.
But thank you all, and happy rails, everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, Ryan, Lionel. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
Ken and Tony and James and Matt for making this possible, and thank you, fans that are watching this. And like I always say, high greens, everybody.
Thanks from us as well over here at Rapido. Really appreciate being able to be part of this. Thanks, Ken and Matt, of course. I'll have to see if I've got something to give away. I'm not sure what I got over here, but I'll have to take something out of the pile.
Well, I think the people are going to want your
F40
T-shirt off your back.
Yes, exactly. I do have my F40 shirt. So.
What about those posters in the background?
Yeah.
I got them from you.
I know. Give them away. Just give them away.
Heck, it's only Jason's money.
Exactly. Let me see if I can. I'll dig out an F40 when the batch arrives. They're still a little ways out, but not too far. Maybe in. I'll get me one for September. How about that?
All right, we'll have to do another. We'll have to do a whole nother episode just on giveaway Amtrak product.
Yeah. We'll do another live stream with you sometime in the next month or so, and we'll sort that out.
That's awesome.
But, I will say I appreciate being here. I did want to say one thing. It really shows. I know, Matt, we've talked about this before. Amtrak really does sell. There was that kind of at one point years ago. People said, "Oh, it doesn't sell." You didn't see a lot of stuff, but you can see we've all got stuff coming out, and it sells, and everyone does really well with it. So there's a huge market.
That's good to hear, because I've heard that before myself. Amtrak just doesn't sell, and I disagree. And you guys are all a testament to that. So and especially the viewers. I mean, you guys, the viewers, speak with their hard-earned money for you guys to keep making Amtrak products, and it seems to be working well. So I wish continued success for the program, and even long after I'm gone from this role, or even at Amtrak, I wish it all success to continue well on into the future.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. It has been, what a night, action-packed. Listen, Amtrak, Matt Donnelly, thank you so much. Big credit to you guys, and we really appreciate you having on. Tony, brilliant idea. He's the mastermind behind this creation. Model Railroad News, thank you so much. James, thank you for joining us with the model train input and the giveaway for the kids out there. And Lionel, Athern, Bachman, Rapido, LGB, Microtrains, Kato, tremendous all around. Thank you guys for making this model train product, the Amtrak product. And if anyone out there hasn't gotten into trains or wants to get into trains, not only Train World, you can find it through us, but any local dealer, get into trains. There's any train store. All these manufacturers are carried with everyone throughout the world. So this event is more about the hobby in general, about Amtrak trains and getting people into the hobby and the synergy between the train model train manufacturers and Amtrak. So thank you guys, everyone out there. We really appreciate it. And you can get all these trains at trainworld.com. Thank you guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks. Hope to see you on an Amtrak train soon, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good one.